What happened? Hello? I'm back and I'm live again. Don't know what the hell happened. What? What the why did I get copyright? Huh? So let's go to YouTube Studios together. I'll put that to the side of the screen. So no, I want to finish that video. It's very interesting, but I'm wondering if that's what took me. Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what the. What? I checked YouTube Studios. Holy pig. Yeah, sorry, what happened? Okay, that's fine. Can you tell me what this video was copyright striked by? Lives. Yeah, now there's 3 versions of the stream that are up. I'm gonna delete this one real quick because it shouldn't exist. Yes, delete that one. It's only 30 seconds long. It's still public, which is strange, considering it was taken down because it was copyright claimed. Apparently I'm missing something. I was invested too, but I need to see if that's what took it down. Restrictions, no. So what happened then? If there was zero copyright issue with the stream, then why the fuck is it gone? I hate having to break up my streams into pieces. What? I'm not gonna delete the old one. Just gonna keep this one up. Can you care to explain to me what happened to my videos? Okay, let's check Gmail again. I'm so confused. Due to a copyright match? A copyright match. Huh? Streams are interrupted. After the copyright material is no longer being streamed, streams are automatically re-enabled. What the hell are you? Is this copyright claimed? Is Jubilee copyright claimed?
Something evil
Hello? Let me see this. Let me see this. Okay, I'm just gonna assume we're okay to keep watching it, considering it'd be very strange if a piece of YouTube video was copyright claiming. What? Is that even how it works? Can they do that? Well, let's keep it up, I guess.
Do something good in the face of evil instead of saying we're gonna do evil and then murder the being because we're gonna pander to the evil. No, what makes the West great is that we do good after evil.
Insane,
not evil
though.
evil.
I was flabbergasted.
It's not about the being and the cells. It's not about. No. I'm speaking. No, 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 I'm speaking.
Raise your flag.
No, I'm speaking. Thank you.
So it's not,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person. No,
hey, Batty, raise your flag.
I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't care. No, listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right now until it is formed. If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby is 2 weeks in utero, actually they have given birth. There is one recorded case of a 5-year-old girl who gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, it's common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and if they get pregnant, I think they should be able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many, I'm curious.
I hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Okay, so that is really nasty. And so her belief system.
Get sometimes, and if they get pregnant, I
wait, hold up. I just gotta double check.
To have medical access.
What'd she say at the end?
To something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many, I'm curious.
I hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Oh my god, I totally misheard that as I hope your daughter, like... Dude, if she said that, I would have flipped out. Oh my god. No, she's right. I hope his fucking kid gets away. What the fuck is wrong with that guy? What the hell? Who says that? Who says that? Even if you honestly, if you believe it, it's worse. I hope he's lying. I pray he's lying. I don't think God would approve of what you just said. That's fucking insane. Anyway, sorry. Let's continue. Oh, I didn't have any sides, but now I do.
Really nasty.
Jesus.
And
nasty,
so
yeah, but it's fucking world's nasty, system, bro.
Just so we're clear, is that... Yeah, no, I got it. It's fine. I mean, it's insanely nasty, and we'll talk again. My next claim is that college is a scam.
Jesus Christ. College is a scam. Oh, they're just switching topics?
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Maddox.
20 minutes
How are you
for
doing?
each.
Good.
Maddox? Okay.
So, college is a scam.
Well, let's define our terms. College being traditional four-year college.
Of course.
University.
I can just agree. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I can agree with that. College is probably a scam. I'm sure it's useful for many ways, but the price is just insane. Simple as that. I can... Evil shot. Evil fucking shot.
Words in a row?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Did the resurrection happen?
Wait, what's this?
Dating online, but I used.
Wait, what the hell? What the hell is happening?
And I'm asking you very basic civic.
Oh wait, what's this?
What was Brown versus the Board of Education?
That's for desegregating schools.
Okay, good.
Yeah, which Project 2025 wants to like defund the Department of
Education.
Who wrote the Constitution?
What happened to the
founding fathers? 1778. I don't know.
It wasn't 1778.
I don't know. Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Well, this is the point: is that you don't learn it in high school. You don't even learn it in undergraduate, and our law school's not learning it. So maybe.
Well, I'm not in law school.
No, the point is that you were saying they already learned it, and they don't. I don't want this to be a pop quiz or trivia. I didn't go to college. No, because church is.
What does church have to do with college,
use
though?
any of the information they learned in college.
You are.
Okay, I guess it somehow does.
News for
Just gonna skip a little bit.
Okay.
He's not. He has like whole rallies where he says all this shit. Oh. Okay.
What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you.
Oof.
Let's define our terms.
Sorry. I hate
woman
liberals.
is an adult female XX chromosomes. You
Both
tell
of them
me
are
what is a
really on,
woman.
though.
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No,
how...
it's not. A table is an
Wait,
object.
what's this new point?
And focusing on serving you unbiased, straight facts.
Okay.
Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for partnering with us on this episode.
Awesome.
Now, let's get into it.
Yeah, my next claim is that trans women are not women.
Woo! That's a kicker. Okay.
What's your name?
Sam.
I do want to hear this.
Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female XX chromosomes. You tell me what is a woman.
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of how...
No, it's not. A table is an object.
Well,
a table can't identify as anything. It
Well,
doesn't have...
it's a shit. That's a second type. I can't use fighting type moves.
A woman is.
If I
Wait, will I
decided
die
right
if I
now
keep
that I
him in?
wanted to identify as a
No,
woman, I
I'm
would
gonna
be a
hit him
woman.
with strength and win.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know,
Strength.
but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I'd be
Bam.
one. So
Easy
once a
peasy.
person makes the decision
Easy
to identify as a
breezy.
woman,
Got it. No, that's a separate issue. What is a woman?
Sand slash. That's what we're gonna do.
that's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing?
How do I don't need to know what they, I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be, you need to tell me what that thing is though.
Why do you know about this guy? Actually, I just realized.
Okay, sorry,
why do you know about this?
Oh wait, this is the same stuff. Because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to, I did give you a definition.
No, you said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition. That's simply...
What would you consider a definition then?
An adult female with XX chromosomes.
No. I mean, like, what makes that a definition?
Okay. Level 19 Fury Swipes. Roll out. I'm getting crushed by fucking Roll Out. Crush Claw.
Hello.
Hi.
Juliana?
Juliana,
I remember,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that you can define
Fury
a woman
Cutter,
just by
Santa.
her chromosomes. Women are
Slut.
so much more than that. They come in a
Slash.
variety of shapes, sizes, colors. And I don't
Awesome
necessarily
sauce.
think that you can count out somebody who's trans just because they don't have a certain set of chromosomes. There are also people who are born, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Intersex?
Yes,
So XXY or YYX?
Or just, or like
sure.
X0 with nothing.
So natural mutations upon the binary, essentially, right?
Yes. So,
but they don't have both sex organs that both operate, right?
Yeah, but that also I don't think necessarily works, right? Because if it's X,
One
just
is more
X, and
dominant than
there's
the other. So
okay,
you're either
that's-
more male or more female, right? So you might have both a penis and vagina, but there's never been a case of someone who can
Yo,
impregnate
he said a
themselves.
funny word.
Okay, I also don't necessarily think that works for this situation, but
Come forth,
I also
persona.
know that one of my best friends is
Format.
trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their
Slap,
sex
slap,
organs.
slap,
If somebody
slap,
asked me who I
slap.
was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair.
I
So-
would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think it's, well, that's the thing too, and I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for
It's
sure.
just-
But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are.
How do
Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
So
lives
women are
life.
better people?
She's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Damn it.
Right, okay.
Damn
I'm gonna let somebody else
That's
go.
all good.
Thank
Oh, Stand True. Hi, Stand True. Diddy.
Okay. All right, Parker, what is a woman?
A woman is an adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex. Now, define a man. Define a man.
You're looking at one.
Wait,
XY
Fury
chromosomes
Cutter?
and a
Okay, but
adult.
does God the Father have XY chromosomes prior to incarnation?
We literally have a religious
He's
topic
a
later.
father and he's him, but he's not a man?
We have a religious
Wait, so
topic
a
later.
man is someone with XY
Why
chromosomes.
does he always
He doesn't have XY chromosomes.
Okay, this
he's still a
guy
man.
right here, he
preferred
always
pronouns.
uses like
very interesting. In
God.
the original Hebrew,
I'm touching my willy down
Adonai.
here.
Do you know what Adonai is? It's the Hebrew word for God. It's
question.
actually genderless, but in the scriptures they use he, right? And they use the masculine. Jesus Christ came to earth as a man, not as a woman, not as genderqueer. But let's go back to the
But God the Father's a man, right?
Well,
Because all fathers are men.
well, first of all,
How-
there's a
okay.
trinity. So God the
How
Father
do I get
is
around him?
neither man nor woman. He is omniscient, omnipotent. He is all being on top
So
of
why
it.
do you use he?
Well, I did not. The scriptures do. You could use woman. You could say her. You could use him. But the way that the
God is
language
a
is
woman?
structured, again, it is so God the Father is so above gender. It is so
Yes, the
above any
Bible
of our
contains
understanding,
Then why use him?
glory, and
Blessings of
understanding.
Bible, fair enough.
Again, because you have to make a choice.
Stop
either
being a
he or
smart
him,
ass.
him
I
or
hate
her
you.
in the original scriptures. Let's go back to. I'm
Some
happy to
fathers
get
aren't
into
men
men
and
and
boys.
boys.
for me to be in here right now.
So some fathers
I'm
are not
not-
men and boys,
Well,
not men or boys.
I'm sorry. What,
Some
what do you-
fathers are not male.
No, of course they are. I'm not.
Wait, so God the Father's a male?
Hold on. God the Father. So where do we get God the Father from? What Greek
Well,
word?
from your scripture.
Well, from Abba, right, which is a very close personal.
You're
term,
not answering my
right?
questions and you're bringing up random language that doesn't matter.
It actually does.
No, it
okay?
doesn't.
But let me get down to the root of it.
No,
'cause
it
I-
doesn't.
Because he's not a man. You know he's not a man under your worldview, yet
Hold
you
on.
still use his
Well,
preferred pronouns. You
Christ
still
is-
call him a man.
Christ is a
But you
man.
don't do that with trans people because you're transphobic. That's why.
Okay, got it. But Christ is a man. I'm happy to get into the sexuality and
Before
gender
incarnation, he's not.
of the Trinity. Okay.
Before incarnation,
Okay.
there's no penis, there's no XY chromosomes, there's no
Well,
small
hold on a
gametes.
second. Let's think about it. If that's correct, how is it then Jacob saw the face of God?
Okay, so if there's
Hold on. If there was not before the incarnation, how did Jacob see the face of God? How did Jacob wrestle with God?
characters can have faces without biology.
How did Jacob wrestle with God?
So okay, do you think that he has a body?
Well,
Or was that a figurative notion of wrestle?
That's a mystery of the scriptures. I'm not here. Well, it is. I'm not here to debate theology. Can we go back to
So,
what we're talking
does he
about
actually
here,
have biology? You keep trying to pivot because you know this debunks you.
Well,
what biology does your God have?
Well, the one of Christ our Lord.
No, I meant
right?
before incarnation.
Well, to be honest, I don't quite know, and I don't think the scriptures are.
So you don't know what a man is?
Well,
you can't define what a man is?
It's a little opaque. Again, you're looking at a man.
But your video, the largest video on TikTok is, what is a woman, 20 million views? You don't know what a man is in your own world?
I said you're looking at a man, right?
Wait, but God the Father doesn't meet that criteria.
Am I looking at a man?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Just making
a man that's defeating you in a debate right now.
Okay, that's fine. So let me ask you a question, though. So, do you think that anybody can become a woman?
I think that anyone who meets my criteria is a woman.
What's your criteria again?
Again, adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex.
Can society ever be wrong?
Sure, but like it's a desire to be in accordance with a set of social and
cultural
norms.
Can I become black if I wear blackface?
No, because it's not a desire that you have to be in accordance with.
Guys, how about we just agree to disagree?
Because race is defined phenotypically
Then they walk
based on
out
the
and they all
expression of other
dance.
people.
But you're by some standard you're judging.
Do
you think there's a phenotypical expression of someone who's white and someone who's black? Like I see you're white because of your phenotypical expression.
Right. So, but do you think? But Rachel Dolezal that said she is black and culturally black, is she black?
Does she have phenotypically characteristics we would associate
Define
with people
phenotypical.
Black?
I'm not sure what that would.
Phenotypical. It's going to be the expression.
So
of
melanin content in one's skin.
Yes.
Okay. So she could pass as a black person.
Wait. So she doesn't have the melanin content.
She's borderline.
No.
Heavily.
Okay. So then she's not black.
Okay. So you're able to say who is black and not black.
That's how we define it in society. No shit.
Okay, got it. So, but is there an objective definition of who's black?
Wait, language is all subjective. Linguistics professionals indicate it's subjective.
Language is all subjective?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Every
really?
word you just used was created by other human beings that are engaged in conversation.
No,
I think it's created by God, and then it's still subjective.
Now we're getting somewhere.
God's subject.
Now we're getting somewhere. Is the word and the value behind murder objective or subjective?
Well, I think morality is subjective.
Drillbird.
But you think it's subjective because it comes from God.
That's interesting.
Wait, does it come from God or independent of God?
Well, no, it's of course it comes from God.
God.
That's subjective. That's subjective. Yes, it is. If it comes from God, it's specifically subjective. If it comes independent of God, then it's objective.
No.
But what you just told me is also
Wait, this is super effective. I can't remember.
You don't understand meta-ethics.
Please kill him.
Hold on a second.
What does subjective morality mean? What does it mean?
Subjective morality means that it comes in everybody's
wasn't super effective, but it still killed him.
True dependent upon a stance.
Again,
God is a stance, and that's the truth of
God
morality.
is a stance.
If let's believe. Do you believe in the? If everybody believed in the concept of God, the transcendent God, that there was a 10 Commandments and we should live by them, right? Is that objective morality?
No. Just because people agree doesn't make it objective.
Okay, then what?
Again, independent of a stance.
What is
agreeance is not independent of a stance.
What is objective morality then?
Yeesh.
Sorry, thanks. We'll be back at it next time.
A whole bunch of nothing.
Mason, how are you? Nice.
I will say,
so
the arguments and the debates are really interesting, but holy shit, both of them are so...
I pay him royalties.
Okay, for sure. Well, do you want to talk about sex first, or do you want to talk about gender?
I don't think gender exists. I think it's a term that John Money and Judith Butler created over the last 4 years that basically is a filler for personalities.
Okay, well, if we're talking about sex, which it seems like you're saying is
I think both of them have a my problem with it, despite like my one issue with the debates. It's just both of them seem like they have a finger so far up their ass that it's hard for me to take either side seriously. Like it doesn't feel like a respectful debate, you know?
However, with intersex though, they are mutations of a binary, correct?
No, we're talking about.
Hold on, but
we're talking about an entire spectrum. You're by definition defeating your expression of what a binary is by saying that there are externalities.
Wake up, slap.
Let me ask you a question. Like
your
XXY.
Charlie, example, you're trying to create this one box and then use any examples that are outside of that box to justify that box again.
You brought up intersex.
We're talking about reality.
Oh shit.
You brought up intersex.
Okay.
What sex organs? Which one is more dominant?
What do you mean?
In an XXY situation.
Can you explain your point of view?
Yeah, I mean,
Wake up,
obviously
slap.
you have more female
Smack
characteristics
down.
than male characteristics in an XXY, or it might be YYX. One of the two. The point is that you do not have both.
Bow.
We can see people with female reproductive organs that have XY, and we can see the vice versa, people with male reproductive organs that have XX.
So I think you said something about gender, though. I think that's more interesting to get into.
You're here,
You
bird?
understand how the conversation.
So we're moving off of sex because you're seeding that argument.
No, I'm not seeding it. Okay. You want to keep going into it?
We can, if you'd like.
Okay, so besides male and female, what categories exist?
Sorry.
We have people that are intersex. We have people that are on the other ends of the bimodal distribution graph. Are you aware what bimodal means versus binary?
Somewhat of an understanding. Yeah.
Okay, well, so you can be presented with a graph after this by the people that you brought with you. But it's actually a bimodal distribution.
Just like constantly going to condescending type talk is not going to be fruitful.
I'm just trying to match your energy with the people that you treated that were trying to have a conversation.
Got it. So trans women are not women. Do you agree with that?
I would say that trans women are women because people that exist under the category of women, people that exist under the category of men are still humans.
Got it. So that category, how is that defined?
Well, I wouldn't limit it to things like genitals or things like chromosomes.
I think the one thing I'm a little against,
what
I
type
don't know
of
if this
genitals
is
would you
super
say I have?
crazy
take,
and if it is,
I'm not
I'm
obsessed with
sorry,
genitals,
I guess.
but I could do a blood sampling right
I
now
don't
and I can
know
see exactly what you are, because every
they
single
should be in
one
sports.
of your trillions of cells
Because
are either
I
coded
feel like
XX
it kind
or
of
XY.
puts
No
down
matter how
the
much
woman.
surgery, whatever. I
Because,
think
like,
that you are man.
you
but
could say whatever
you
you
could take
want,
hormones,
but
you
a
could
fact
play camouflage.
that
Like I could
won't
fool you to
go
be
away no
Hispanic
matter
if I had
what
the right
is,
Hollywood makeup director. That doesn't mean that you are the thing.
men have
But-
just more
but
muscle.
You're going from an objective
because
biological
that's just how they're
perspective, which
made.
we've already talked about
They
with
have
sex.
more-
I'm
it's
talking
easier
about
for
a
them to gain
social
muscle, I
construct
believe.
or a social
Right.
utility.
Yeah. So
like if we were at a restaurant, right?
So it's kind of
I'm
just
sitting
like
down at
unfair
and I'm sitting down at the
for,
table and you're
like,
telling the
women
waiter,
who
hey,
spent
I
their
want to
whole
go
life
sit with
training just
blank. What
for-
would you use?
with you,
He doesn't know my name. Yeah.
Well,
And
I
I
was
believe
sitting
they
over
should
that
still
guy.
be able to
Yeah,
like
yes,
do their own
correct.
That guy.
things, but
You're gonna typically use he or him, or you're gonna say that guy, like you just said.
Correct.
Because you're ascribing
I
the
just
male
don't know about
gender to me
sports.
based on my
Especially
and
for,
I,
like,
I,
like
I say
women
I
only
could be an
sports
error. Maybe you
specifically.
are
If it's like
a
a
biological
group
woman.
thing,
Then you
then sure,
correct yourself,
consider
right?
them
That
whatever.
maybe not.
They
So
wanna
that's
be
what
considered.
that is
That's-
exactly what we're trying to say.
Hold on,
Is
we're,
Well,
so
like,
the
as
question
far
is that
as
do you
men
think
only,
that
women
womanhood
only
can then
type
be
sports.
assumed just through costume
I
design?
don't know.
it's not
Whatever.
costume
I can be
design.
proven
What is
wrong.
it?
Let's have
It's
a
performative
debate.
social
I'll
characteristics.
stare you
So
like
you
this.
can-
Yes,
that's
act
what
it.
gender is.
Okay,
Great
got
job.
it. So you
Yes.
can-
It actually
it's like
means
a
little
theater
baby.
troupe.
It's not a theater troupe. These are social. These are social
womanhood
categories.
can be appropriated.
No, they're categories. That's
So
what it is.
So there's nothing inherent about the chromosomes. There's nothing that.
Correct. Yes.
Wow, we disagree. So there's nothing inherent about having a period or being able to give birth or the specific hormonal
In
makeup.
different cultures, we've ascribed that to womanhood. If you go back to other cultures spanning thousands of
Yeah,
years,
for sure.
you'll see a difference when
No,
it
I
comes
know.
to those
Like
types
for
of
example, the
categories.
Mayans had plenty of people that were schizophrenic, right?
Damn
so
it.
that means nothing to me, right?
Okay,
So,
we have people that say they're hearing things from God. Would you say that's schizophrenic?
well, not necessarily. It built Western civilization and
Okay,
common
cool.
law and due process and
All right.
individual rights.
I just
and
wanted to hear that you
defense of the unborn and the greatest civilization ever. You know, that voice from God having the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world. That's
Okay,
fine.
I think
Got
I might say
him.
the same thing. That's the
Fucking-
problem with presuppositional
Yeah,
arguments.
shit
is
in the
that you can
background.
say
Holy
anything.
Can we go visit
I mean,
that?
God's telling me
Can we
right
go
now
visit
that
the Mayan
you're a
nation?
fish. Do you think that's real?
Can we go
Kiss
visit
the
the Mayan
man.
nation? They didn't last that long.
Yeah, overkilling and violence, and you can justify that if you like.
You mean all
like,
the
if
child
you can do it.
sacrifice
And
that
this is the
on the
condescending
topic
tone.
of-
That's why I'm trying to match it. Is because
You mean
Bam.
all the child sacrifice the Aztecs, Mayans, and Incans did on the top of time was great
do
civilization?
you want to go back in the
But-
Old Testament? Let's bring Parker
Oh,
up in here.
sorry,
Let's talk
sorry.
about all
Hold
the
on, wait,
child,
hold on, no, no, no.
child marriage,
Wait,
and
hold
we
on,
can talk
wait,
about the justification of rape.
Where was child sacrifice ever in the Bible?
When Isaac was
Oh,
almost fucking
hold on.
sacrificed
Well, hold
by
on.
his dad.
He wasn't though, because at the beginning of
Yeah,
Genesis,
so God just
hold
said
on.
like, nah, just kidding, dog.
Yeah,
Don't
you
actually
know
kill
why?
your son.
Because at the beginning of Genesis 16 said, "I'm going to test
To
Abraham."
obedience,
Ah,
yes,
yeah, that's
correct.
right. So now
Yeah.
you know it.
Okay.
So actually, there was no child sacrifice in the Bible. It was a prohibition on child sacrifice in the Bible. But anyway,
Gotcha.
that's a little bit of a rabbit hole. Do you understand at least? Can you sympathize with our perspective?
Okay.
That
I'll calm it down a little bit. I apologize for the condescension.
no, it's fine. I mean,
but
you're doing it's fine. But did you see where this could get wildly out of control? At least on the
I don't
extreme
I like to
side.
imagine, like you
Okay.
said, it calm down.
Because
and,
Even
like,
in sports,
flags.
for example, you think that
Okay.
there's
They went
So
up.
this
That's
is
crazy.
something that we might be able to agree upon, right? Sports were not archaeologically dug up, right? The rules of sports, they are things that we've created as a society. We have decided as a society the most fair categorization is male sports and female sports. Now, as we've been able to understand, or at least bring into the forefront, people who don't identify with the binary, we
What
still
do I
have to
do?
allow all people that are women in the women's category and all men that are men in the women's category. That includes cis and trans. If you'd like to change that category because you think it's unfair, we can do that. That's what's awesome about arbitrary rules is we can
So,
decide hormones.
I might not know this, but like when the Greeks started the Olympics 2,000 years ago, did they have like a bunch of dudes wrestling with women?
I don't even think they allowed women to compete.
No,
Well, I might be wrong on that, but
That kind of proves the point, though, that there was a
yeah. And what did we do to allow women? We changed the rules.
right. No, but that by
do
definition,
I
therefore, there
do?
is something from body composition, bone mass,
So
lung
tell me
density,
something.
testosterone, and estrogen rates. Your
Yeah.
endocrinology is
So if
different.
Can I not
you'd say
be
the
here? Am
majority
I,
of
like,
males
here
in the
too
bimodal
early? Is there
distribution
no
graph, we're
reason
going
for me
back
to
to
be
that,
here right
you
now
can
in the
say, hey,
game?
we want
What's
this
my
level
next
of
goal,
hormones in
then?
this particular category, and we can separate it by hormones.
we have
I
a
agree with you that a majority of men are, or a majority of
Well, not
cis
even
men
majority.
are.
You got to be like 99.9%.
I don't know.
Like,
Ronda Rousey could kick my ass. I will say that.
No, for sure. But I
Okay.
mean, but could she kick Conor McGregor's ass?
Well, now we're talking about the peaks, right?
But, no,
the
but she's
peaks
at the
of
peak, though.
cisgender.
No, because you're talking about the peaks of two different categories in the same sort of.
Right.
Run.
Because
I'm not
why?
buying the
She's a
mask.
cis woman.
She's a cis woman and
Correct.
he's
A cis man.
But yes, and
Correct.
he could kick her tail, right?
Yes, I would agree.
Oh, okay, for sure, right?
Because cis men and cis women have different hormone levels. If you want to change the hormones, we can change the categorization. But you're saying that you want men and women, bar none, and you say that's the most fair category. Then we have to allow all women and all men.
But again, those things don't. So I just want to be clear.
Let me out of there.
So, because I think I'm tracking your argument, is that in the University of Pennsylvania swim team, when Thomas swam against biological women, that was perfectly fine with that.
I think as long as we have the
Oh wait, no, I already caught him. Wait a minute. I missed out on Pokemon. There's this one, there's the next one, then there's the temple. That's 3 locations. I could have caught an extra Pokemon.
Hi, my name is Preeti. Nice
Whatever.
to meet you.
I'll take. I have a team of 4. I'm not gonna complain.
Preeti,
Right
P-R-E-E-T. You're totally yeah.
Preeti?
Okay, so I kind of want to go back to a little earlier. You said that Parker has lower T than you. So would you say?
What?
Yeah. No.
What's up with everyone having really far apart eyes?
But I guess like on that point,
Yeah.
do you think that like T has to do, or testosterone has to do with your manhood?
No.
Like,
well, yes and no. I mean, if you are looking at typical testosterone estrogen rates of women, they are far different than those of men. But for example, like your testosterone rate goes down when you have children. For example, when you're a man, that doesn't make you less of a man. They go down by about 400 points.
Okay, but like when we were talking earlier about like sports, right? And you were saying that the reason why it's unfair for like for example, a trans woman who used to be a man to be like competing in women's sports, you cited that they have higher testosterone levels.
One of about 50 characteristics. Also lung density. Their men's hearts are bigger. We have greater bone density, muscle mass. Tend to be faster.
I don't want to fight.
But like those factors all come from the hormones during the development process, correct?
No, not necessarily. No.
I mean, most of them do.
Well, not all of them. So, for example, you could try to pump a young girl's body with testosterone at 8 years old, and you can get them stronger. You cannot necessarily get them on par with a biological male at puberty. You cannot. You could try.
Okay, but like
because there's something in the coding of our genetics.
Right. The coding of our genetics, which is often like controlled by like different like I guess parts of our DNA and also the hormones that are produced that affect the effective coding of how
more than endocrinology, but it's a big part. Because for example, if you just give a kid testosterone, that doesn't even get them close to becoming a male, or estrogen giving them a female.
Okay.
They might get
I didn't apply the
right. Okay.
But it does it for
thumbnail.
Like there's no perfect image of like this is what a female looks like. This is what a male looks like. Like we all get our periods at different ages. Some of us like and also like for example like there are many circumstances where womanhood is just not one thing, right? It's a multitude of experiences that every single person.
Can you define what womanhood is? That's an interesting question.
Well, no, I can't define what womanhood is. And the reason why is because it's something that's an individual experience for every single person, right? Like my experiences, what I have experienced throughout my life is not going to be the same as another woman who may have like grown up in a different environment.
We have disagreement, but not clarity. I say that being a woman or womanhood is an objective thing.
Right, but are we
objective outside of one's opinions or experiences.
So, but are we at the point where we're discussing where this is like not
21
something based on your chromosomes, but something maybe based on a construct?
21.
Well, no, it also can be objectively witnessed in empirical ways, in biological ways, in
21.
Okay. So to clarify, we're still discussing whether womanhood is on chromosomes or not.
If you'd like to discuss that, it's deeper
like,
than just chromosomes.
Right. I'm just trying to define exactly.
For example, if you look at SPECT scans or brain scans of men and women, 98% of the time, artificial intelligence can tell you which one is the men and which one is the man.
Diddy.
Okay.
So our different parts of our brains fire. So for men, for example, our amygdalas are not as high working as women. You know what amygdala is the threat assessment part of your brain.
Obviously, like your birth, so there's a difference between the concept of what sex is, which is a biological aspect, and what gender is, which is a social construct.
I reject gender completely as a different word. It's really personality.
So that's where the debate is. Yes. It's the existence of gender.
Where the hell am I going?
I don't doubt that.
What the hell do I do?
How would you define race on that one?
How would
you define race?
Well, race is a very difficult topic.
Okay, because I think that it's a really important thing to discuss when it comes to this.
If I draw blood,
is it ethnic lines?
If you have a blood sample of a black individual and a white individual, I can't tell you which one is which. If I have a blood sample of a man and a woman, I can tell you which one is which, just by running very simple elementary blood tests. So, for example, if there was a Hispanic or white, there is no difference in genetic coding. There just isn't.
Why is it important?
Yeah.
My next claim is that Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate.
A what? A DEI?
A lot of competition, Mason.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Can I define what a DEI candidate is?
I think that you're going to say because she's black and she's a woman, she was appointed because Joe Biden promised that, and it's not a testament to her success.
Not only that, but also in her getting the nomination of the Democrat Party, they said repeatedly, we do not want to pass over a black female.
I don't get
Okay.
it.
So just those two things, but the first one is stronger. You're right. Joe Biden said, I'm going to put on my vice presidency a black female.
I meant to switch.
So
Why the
just
hell
like,
are you still here,
and it was like
dude?
Karen Bass and Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So she was not chosen because of her intellect or her
Flurp,
accomplishments
get out here.
or because of any of that. It was because she happened to fit a couple boxes. In fact, Amy Klobuchar, the vetting at the time was that Amy Klobuchar would have been a better VP, and Kamala ended up getting it. So it's just a statement of fact that she is there not because of
super
her
effective.
brilliance or accomplishments, but because of her
Ow.
ethnicity.
So
It's okay
Kamala
if you
Harris, first and foremost, there are a lot of criticisms that you can give
Acid
her on why she
spray.
wouldn't be an effective president. It shouldn't be because she's a woman or because she's black. And it seems to be that you're
That's
saying
not
that.
it. No, I just want people to understand and agree she didn't earn this.
She
Because-
absolutely did.
well,
She
no,
has
hold on a
she has a
second.
career where she's been not only a
Oh,
DA,
assurance is
one of the
bad.
biggest.
I gotta switch out.
But like,
It stands for diversity, equity, inclusion. I like the meme though.
I know it. But do you at least admit and acknowledge that when Joe Biden was searching for a VP, he cared more about skin color and a female than the smartest, best person?
So the whole conversation
You at
with
least
this
agree with that?
affirmative action with DEI, the whole reason why people bring it in is to make this imaginary scenario that there's a super qualified white man who was overpassed by this unqualified, stupid idiot
Well, hold on.
person
but
of color.
his own,
which is such
his
a
own
terrible
team
analogy
said that.
because it's not true.
His own
It's
team
absolutely
said
not
that.
true.
But Mason,
That's not what it is.
his
Joe
own
Biden
team-
did not say, I'm going to choose an unqualified person
Hold on.
and just offend
His
him because
own
she's black.
team, his own
Yeah.
team
He's
said
saying that I'm going to have two qualified people. If one comes from a different experience, it might be better to have a
No, that's not
diversity
what he
and have
said.
a better perception.
He said,
informed
Who
he
are
said
you?
at the
Look
South
pretty
Carolina
timid.
These are
debate
Well,
that
I'm
I
a
will pick
badass.
a black woman as my vice president. Secondly, Amy Klobuchar came out.
Is this a random black
Can I
woman that he
finish?
plucked off the street?
Can I
Or is this a
finish?
qualified DEA,
Can I finish?
general attorney, who's had
I
a
gotta
decorated career
reheal
leading
my
government
shit, bro.
positions?
But
You can keep
Oh, I can
rambling about things that just
restore
aren't
HP.
relevant to what we're talking
it is
about.
relevant. Amy Klobuchar in vetting came across as the more qualified
Okay.
candidate.
Why?
Because they said Kamala Harris wasn't very smart, wasn't very bright. That's their own vetting documents.
From who?
Joe Biden's own vetting documents.
So why
showed-
would he go against that?
Because
Fact
the
check.
base of the Democrat Party demands tribal politics and DEI politics over competency.
That's
Yes,
completely inaccurate.
He
Max
stated,
Ether.
Jim Clyburn said,
I
I
don't
will
wanna
only
use a Max
endorse
Ether,
you
I
in the
just wanna
South
use a
Carolina
basic
primary
ether.
if you say that you're going to put a black person, preferably a black
Give
female,
Diddy
on your ticket
more
with you.
moves on
Therefore,
Wake
you
Up
winnow
Slap,
the entire universe
please.
down and
When
say,
I was-
I'm only going to choose in this
What have
criteria.
you-
And let's just think more broadly. If
Okay.
you're about to have heart surgery,
I
would
don't
you rather
have
have a
any-
heart surgeon that's good and excellent, knows what he's doing,
Oh,
or someone that is a
raises
black
the base
female?
attack instead of
So,
a single
And being
punch.
president
Yeah,
is
I'll
more
use
important
that.
than being a heart surgeon.
Aren't you on record
Uh,
saying that you'd be terrified if there was a black pilot
Yeah,
that was flying
yes,
your
I did
airplane?
say that. But why?
Okay, cool.
What was the full
What?
quote?
I personally, I don't know. If
So
you want to
Diddy.
explain.
Yeah. So this ties into this. United Airlines said that half of all their new hirees are going to be black or women, and that standards and pursuit of excellence is not going to be taken as seriously as diversity. When
This is-
I'm flying a plane, I want to know my pilot is there
Blah,
because they're a good
blah,
pilot, not because
blah.
they fit some DEI box.
Damn it, I wish
That
we could
makes
have a better
sense, I
conversation.
guess.
I'm sorry,
I
man.
don't know if that's true. My shiny head is almost as reflective of my fighting spirits. Let's fight.
Fast, man.
Okay, so let's say that
Fast,
Kamala
man.
Harris was the DEI hire as vice president. Do
Daramuka.
you think she's also a DEI hire as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they decided to go to her almost immediately because she's the VP, but
Daramuka,
also
more
because
like
she fits some criteria
Doris.
boxes. But let me ask
You
you.
don't think it's
Stupid.
because Joe Biden
Rock throw.
nominated or
No,
said
no, for
he
sure,
wanted-
that's part of it. Of course it is. But let me ask you, what's her greatest achievement or accomplishment?
her greatest achievement or
Awesome.
accomplishment? I'd say her greatest achievement or accomplishment is completely
gotta go, you have work
destroying
in the
the
morning, I'm gonna have
Republican
no
Party
viewers.
within
Okay.
like 2 weeks
Bye.
of being nominated.
How'd you-
Like in the
I'll
polls,
just
she's
die, I
just
guess.
absolutely
22. Level ups left and right. Oh wait,
Sorry.
doop doop. Fire punch. Heck yeah. Get rid of headbutt.
How are you? Nice to see you. What's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
So you believe because
Oh, my
Kamala is
makeup
black
flinch.
and a woman,
Rage.
she was chosen for
It's
vice
not my own
president?
belief. Her own team, Joe Biden said that. He said, I
Joe
chose.
Biden said that?
Yeah, he said, I'm first, because beforehand he said, I'm going to choose a black female for vice president.
Oh, I'm switching
He didn't
that
say, I'm
out.
going
I
to
don't
choose
need
the most
that.
gifted or the most talented or the most accomplished. He
Me-
said, so he said, I'm
Rage.
going to choose a black female.
Fire
And so
punch.
by definition, that is DEI.
That is not the definition of DEI. By him saying that he was going to choose a black female, that could insinuate that he already had Kamala in mind for the role. No way does that insinuate that she's DEI.
Well, what is DEI then?
DEI would be
Stardust.
Choosing somebody based on their race?
no. It's giving people of color the opportunity
have
to
to
be
fight this
welcomed
guy?
into
I'll
spaces
fight
in which
him.
they typically
Like Kamala
aren't
Harris?
able to get
There's
into.
never been a female black vice president.
And why do you think that is?
Well, not why. You just said that's DEI. So
that
by definition, she's DEI.
okay, so she
So she-
represents that diversity within the government.
Well,
Is
no,
what
but
you're
you're saying
saying.
she got
My
elevated
stream was interrupted
because
again.
she was
No.
Okay, I turned off the thing that was bad. Suspended. Great. I wonder if it's just suspended on YouTube or is it suspended on Twitch as well. I turned off the video. Was that it? I think that was it. Well, let's see here. Twitch. Log myself back in. I don't remember my info.
Sepu, thank you so much.
No. Stop it. Let me just browse. You know what I can do is I can go to browse. I can go to Pokemon Black 2. Pokemon. Black 2. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I'm right here. Here we go. One viewer on here. Hello, one viewer. We're fighting a level 21 Zubat. Wonder if my stream is back up. I turned off what it was problematic. Suspended or over? Okay, we're back. Sorry, we'll stop watching that stupid video, I guess. Jeez. Okay. Really don't want us watching it. Sorry, we'll shut myself up. Fucking hell, that's so stupid. Alright, rock throw. Super effective. Dead. That's really irritating. Timber. Isn't that the Pokemon I'm fighting with? Oh. Buddy, I think your Pokemon's missing up. Evolution. Wake up slap, huh? That's my signature. You're not too good at it. May I say, wow. Oh yeah, baby. Straight to the point. Straight to the point. Doop-de-doop. Gets stronger. So do I. Let's see what we should watch. If we can't watch that video. Kink Talk. I hate this guy though. I don't want to watch him.
Hello everyone, I'm Don, and we gotta talk about something absolutely next level insane. People are now out here turning public spaces into their personal kink playground. Yes, you heard me correctly. Now I'm all about letting people get their freak on, but how about we keep that behind closed doors? Like I'm just trying to grab my groceries, not witness 50 shades of the fuck y'all doing. Imagine walking down the street, minding your business, and suddenly you're forced to witness someone's personal fantasies. The thing is, even kids are seeing this. I'd be so excited. Who signed up for this? This is not boot camp. I mean, to be fair, who really wants to sign up for boot camp? But that's not the point. Keep that stuff in private, not in the middle of Starbucks where I'm trying to just enjoy a coffee.
Yeah.
Just want to eat her from the back.
What? She looks like a frog, bro.
Can I put 2 fingers in your...
Deadass, do not start your feeding shit.
So we're in a thrift store that sells old movies and clothes, basically the Goodwill of awkward situations. And this dude decides it's the perfect time to talk that freaky talk. Like, bro, this ain't the after hours club. This is literally the place where people buy used socks. And did y'all hear what he just said? Dude really hit us with the I want to eat it from the back. Like, hold up, is this dude ordering off the freaky fast food menu? You're literally surrounded by dusty DVDs. This is not the drive-through for your personal cravings. And then his girl's like, stop with that freaky stuff. Thank you. It needed to be said.
One hand on one hand on the other.
What the hell?
What are you doing? I'm not done yet.
I'm gonna...
That's an ugly ass.
Then it cuts to another part where you can literally see a shopper in the background just minding his own business, and now he has to hear all of this stuff that this dude is telling his girl. If you're gonna talk dirty, maybe don't do it in the clearance section of a store where people are trying to buy used t-shirts. Take that energy home, or better yet, keep it in the group chat where it belongs. You got this other couple over here where the girl wants to act like a dog, and she got a leash on her neck, a actual leash on her neck, and she's walking on all fours in public. No shame.
Aww.
They walk into a Starbucks where there's tons of people and customers around. Like, this is so weird. Fuck? I can tell the employee was kind of annoyed too, the way she handed over the drink. Just like, yo, take your drink and get up out of here quickly. They don't want to make no eye contact. And that ain't even one of the worst parts. Is the fact that this human dog person decides to drink this drink in the middle of the Starbucks, still in the same dog position that she's in. Just imagine how the way people are looking behind the camera. Like, yo, what is happening right now? And then of course there's Walmart, where the W stands for Weirdo World. I'm telling you, this place spawns more bizarre people than any other location on earth. Like, you don't go to Walmart for grocery shopping anymore. You go to Walmart for a live episode of what the hell is going on here? And people are so fascinated. They've literally created groups dedicated to spotting these people in Walmart. No joke, look it up.
So I was actually thinking about.
Oh god, I've seen this one.
Oh, what princess?
Oh, Pokemon. Ah!
Well, now I can't think.
Oh no.
Oh, we have to fight? Ooh.
I don't think you was thinking to begin with, because you wouldn't be in Walmart if that was the case. You would have kept this in the privacy of your own home. Better yet, you wouldn't have even posted this on TikTok for the world to see. I hate that this came on my For You page.
You're taking a really long time looking at beans.
Yeah, sorry.
Raising my special attack and confusion.
Oh my god.
What? You don't like that?
No, I don't like that.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
Babe, you're Goodwill at best.
You're horrid. You are horrible.
What the wait, what did they?
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
Babe, you're Goodwill at best.
Girl, you're good. Jesus Christ. What the fuck did you say to me? You're horrid.
You're horrid. You are horrible.
I'm great for you, aren't I?
What the fuck?
Cut.
Like, this is literally me after I finished buying my beans and seeing what I just saw.
What the hell?
What? Like, I don't even know how to feel. I don't have the words to describe the way I feel. Been doing these freaking kink videos in Walmart for so damn long. You're stuck looking at your partner and us. What you need to do is be looking for a way to keep this indoors.
I think there's been like 30 different stats that have been. Oh shit, I'm cooked.
Did you just put a cigarette into his mouth? That's. Oh, it's the video, if that's okay. I'm not judging. You're both consenting adults.
Oh, yeah.
Can I please capture your interactions? Thank you. Very kind of you. I wish everyone was as cool as this. The viewers will be wondering, what is going on? What is going on?
Jesus!
Female supremacy.
My Pokemon!
Female supremacy.
Yes.
My Pokemon!
So they know that women are in charge.
Oh my god.
Okay, that was absolutely disgusting. First of all, this dude on his knees like a damn human ass trick. Listen, my man, you better get your ass up. And now look, I don't know what the man's been through to get to that low point where he's got to be doing that, right? But bro, stop it. Get some help. Listen, if that's really what you into, then that's what you into. If you can sit there and allow people to record you while somebody's ashing a cigarette in your mouth, and she's standing there talking about some woman supremacy, we rule this and rule that, that don't mean you gotta disrespect the guy. I get it. Y'all both grown. Y'all could do whatever y'all want, right? Ooh, but don't let me watch that. You're literally being surrounded by people pulling out their phones, looking at you. Like, yo, this is not normal to be doing in public. If you was doing it in private, I wouldn't even be aware. This is what happens when people take girl boss energy a little too far. If this is what y'all doing, y'all need to go home and have a serious Netflix and rethink kind of night. Y'all in public, not a damn Renaissance King Fair. Now this one is a little bit iffy to me. This woman is in public acting like a child who seems to be their kink.
Oh, I've seen this one. That's a wow. God, can I use an escape rope to get out of here?
I'm not gonna talk too much on this one. You do you, but don't show me none of this at all. They're literally disturbing the public. This guy came out here with a mask on because he know what's up. You see, like him, he know people gonna
look into my eyes.
He don't want his face all over the internet, so he put on a face mask. Hope has been done for like years now. At this point, it's a fashion statement. So imagine you just at the park and you know, enjoying the air, enjoying the weather, you walking around with your family and kids, beautiful day. But you turn your head to the left and you see a couple under a blanket. Just look at this.
Oh, yeah. The New York couple. The New York, yeah. Yep. Seen it. Nope.
Like, why in anyone's right mind would this be a good idea? Just because you have a blanket covered over you doesn't mean that people are not going to see what you're doing. And what's crazy about this is you can literally see kids running around in the same footage that this has happened. Like, why couldn't you just come to the park and just be a normal human being and play Pokemon Go or something? People even still play Pokemon Go? I don't know, but I'm sure it would have been better than whatever you was doing at the park.
Let me get my goddamn
this couple got arrested. Now here's another couple who thought it would be a good idea to take the toys outside the house.
Acid spray.
There's another couple who thought it would be a good idea to do their dirty work at the beach in front of absolutely everyone. Just because you're covered by a blanket doesn't mean no one can see you. Anyway,
I think that makes
police ends up showing up. They also get arrested.
Yeah, you get the things on, right? Boom! You don't make no noise in the store.
Scared you?
I'll tell you goodbye. You got a bit.
All right, let me get this straight. So this couple thought it was a good idea to make a deal. Basically, she's wearing vibrating in public, and if she can go without making a sound, he will take her to Dubai. Why is Dubai always the prize in these weird games?
There's definitely some shit going on in Dubai, that's why. Why is she bouncing? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
What the fuck? Damn.
After about 2 minutes, she's stuck there. Can't even move. She's done. Like, she didn't even win the challenge. And at that point, it's like, forget Dubai. But at least she's in a mall, so she could get herself a brand new pair of pants, because I don't think she want to be walking around like that the entire time. But this is what's insane. These people are out here doing this in public. You know how many teenagers and children are found at a mall? Like, I'm just trying to buy some eggs, and she's over here fighting for her life.
I love
you know it's serious when her brain is hitting that error 404 page, and she's stuck in place. And they didn't even make it that far from the escalator where they were originally standing. This man must have had it on the craziest set. Literally, like, her pants are more hydrated than Dubai will ever be. Sorry, bro, but at this point, she gonna need more than a vacation. It's like they're only thinking about themselves and they're not really thinking about the people around them. Imagine you forcing me to watch you do some weird stuff, and then when I tell you about it, you gonna tell me that I'm kink shaming. It's called public indecency. And if I'm gonna get called the kink shamer for calling this stuff out, then so be it, all right? But I'm pretty sure there's tons of people out there that agree with me.
Nah. Oh god, there's more than one. That bitch. Stop it. Stop.
Stop. Now, initially when I watched the video, I saw nothing of it. I thought maybe she saw some food that excited her and she just started getting all jumpy. And that's until I went into the comments to actually realize what was going on. And I sure as heck wasn't alone on this one. I would thought she was excited to see the Christmas Oreos like I did yesterday. That's what I thought. I thought she was happy to see some food. But then as you go a little bit deeper, you then start to see what's really happening. Somebody here, Jessica goes, what specific device is she using? I want one. Which one was it? Where does one purchase this? Asking for a friend. It seems to be a lot of women in this comment section supporting this kind of behavior. There's some guys in there too, but I see predominantly women. Like, y'all literally go shopping for 30 minutes. You can wait 30 minutes to get back to your house in order to do whatever the heck you gotta do. What I don't understand is the fact that they continuously post this on TikTok for the world to see. This video here has nearly 18 million views. Wow.
Bro. Crazy.
He's like, what the hell?
That's not okay. That is not okay. This has gotta be criminal, bro.
Man, restaurant workers already go through so much, bro. I really gotta interview a restaurant worker, man. I'm sure they have so much stories to tell, because this would be a wild story to tell. How are you in a restaurant where you're gonna sit down and eat food, just sit and enjoy your food, but now you want to make things a little bit messy by throwing in a vibrator.
Wild. Absolutely wild. That's disgusting,
yes.
dude.
Nothing says I've got it all under control.
Can't even lie. I don't even want to hear this anymore. That's kind of crazy. Oh, Mimulus posted something. I guess we could check that out. Hold up. Let me come back. Let me take 5. Bam! 5. Let me take a second to grab myself a drink. I'll be right back. I guess I'm gonna wake myself up a little bit, you know? Okay guys, I'm back. You know, since I'm dieting, I figured I'd just get myself a zero sugar monster. You know, I'm on a diet, it's pretty strict. I don't want to gain too many pounds because I'm already pretty heavy. So honestly, like I really want to cut back on the sugar. And so, you know, that's why I got the Monster Zero Sugar, just to make sure I watch my sugar intake. I'm getting healthier by the minute. All right. Back to it. Let's watch Britain's most irritating
millionaire. So I just think the whole concept of work-life balance was invented by people who hate the work that they do.
Today we're talking about a real one. A bloke that hates the system and the banks and the corporate fat cats. A man who does not abide by the little boxes that society puts us into. I'll tell you what, I'd go as far as to call this guy a punk through and through. James Watt, founder of Brewdog. And I think he'd agree with my analysis of him being a punk, since it's literally his whole brand. He has a book called Business for Punks. Now, if LinkedIn gained sentience and took human form, it would morph into James Watt. This guy is a LinkedIn fiend. He's quite possibly the most LinkedIn man that has ever walked the earth. And honestly, I don't think that you can call yourself a punk if you use LinkedIn to any capacity. As soon as you join LinkedIn, you forego any rights to call yourself a punk. It's even in his LinkedIn bio, James Watt, investor, entrepreneur, punk. I mean, I think investor and entrepreneur are the two least punk things ever. Also, being real, it is quite cringe to call yourself a punk, innit? Like, it would be like me calling myself incredibly muscular and massively handsome. Which I am, don't get me wrong, but you're less likely to believe me if I keep going on about it, which I would never do. But our mate James the Punk Watt has found himself in hot water the last month or so, first for this bizarre LinkedIn post where he asked his LinkedIn followers for advice on if he should delay his wedding to save a few grand in tax. Should I delay marrying Georgia Toffolo? I need some help, guys. Here's the story. I'm making an investment into Wildpack, an incredible UK-based raw dog food business, transforming dogs' lives through raw natural nutrition. I'm a massive advocate of this mission. And the founder, Georgia Toffolo. But that's your fiance. Yes, I'm biased, but in my defense, it is a bloody great business, but my tax advisor just dropped a bombshell on me the other day. God, that's so punk, having a tax advisor. If I marry Georgia within 3 years of investing, I become a connected person under HMRC rules and I lose the EIS tax relief. That is not punk, man. That is not punk one bit. Real punks always make sure to keep their EIS tax relief. So I'm now facing the ultimate question. The ultimate question, yeah. Delay the wedding for 3 years and lock in the tax relief, or forego the tax break and marry Georgia in 2025. What would you do? Well, yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best place to go for advice on that. But he later claimed in a post that it was a joke. He said, okay, the UK papers have been hard on this one. When I joked about delaying my wedding for tax relief this week, I thought a couple of papers might have had a slow day and picked it up, not all the papers. Let's be honest, I was clearly joking. There's no way I'd survive pulling off a wedding to save £3,500 in tax, not if I wanted to live to see the big day. A huge thank you to the national newspapers for their expert journalism and for continuing to bring the British public the highest quality news stories out there. Lesson, sometimes it's okay to have a laugh with the press, even if they aren't in on the joke. I have a feeling it wasn't a joke. I don't know. Deep down, I just feel as though if there was any man I would believe would put off his wedding for 3 years to save $3.5 grand despite being worth tens of millions, it's James Punky Penguin Watt. Also, mate, you are a multi-millionaire. Why are you bothering going through the effort of this for a really lame gotcha? Like, surely you have better things to be doing. But I don't know. Maybe it's just some kind of punky prank that I don't get because I'm too in the system. But the other day, he posted another bizarre thing on his LinkedIn. This time it was a video where him and his fiance are talking about work-life balance and what they think of it. And it is probably just as terrible as you're anticipating.
So I just think the whole concept of work-life balance was invented by people who hate the work that they do. So if you love what you do, you don't need work-life balance, you need work-life integration.
That is so punk, man. Neglecting work-life balance.
How's that not very effective?
All the great punks in history did that. But like, what the fuck is he waffling? What is he waffling about here? Let's analyze.
The whole concept of work-life balance was invented by people who hate the work that they do.
The whole concept of work-life balance was created by people who hate their jobs. That is absolute bollocks. You might love working all the time, but most people, as much as they may love their work, need time to switch off every now and then. Actually, not even every now and then, very regularly. And look, I love what I do. My job for today is to sit down and talk about this guy. That is my job. It's great. But sometimes I have days where I'm just like, fucking hell, I need a day where I just spend the whole day playing FIFA career mode and not thinking about anything to do with YouTube. And if possible, in the evenings, I just switch off. I don't think about YouTube at all. And it's really good for me because I used to not do that. I used to just constantly like be making videos like all the time and always thinking about it and always doing something to do with YouTube. But painting everyone who likes to have a break and likes to be healthy in the way they balance their lives as hating their jobs is fucking stupid. It's the sort of stupid shit you'd hear some 14-year-old who's just discovered Alpha Male podcast would say, oh, never stop working. The grind never stops. Your competition aren't slacking. Fuck work-life balance. It's a myth created by the system to keep you poor.
So if you love what you do, you don't need work-life balance. You need work-life integration.
And then he says, so if you love what you do, then you don't need work-life balance. Mate, just like take the evening off. It won't kill you. Like play some FIFA, watch the chase. I don't know, man.
It's so true. And when I met James, I was quite taken aback at how aligned we are on the important stuff. And one of those is lack of work-life balance.
Yeah, that's what you want to look for in a partner. That too is one of the important things that
I
look for in a partner. Someone with a lack of work-life balance, because those are always
I'm
very
well
adjusted
Pokemon
people.
at 25.
Look, okay, right. If you don't like having a work-life balance, if you just love grinding and working all the time, I can relate as a certified bag grabber myself. I can relate in some degree because I was kind of like that before. I wasn't like making videos going, oh no, there's no such thing.
Bubble beam.
If you believe in a work-life balance, then you must hate your job. I do kind of sort of accept, like basically all I used to do was stuff to do with YouTube. And look, if you want that, then that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to go, oh, you should change your life. You should not be doing that. But to push it onto other people and be like, oh yeah, well, you don't like just sitting around and working all day? Oh yeah, that's a you problem. You must hate your job.
Out there?
You're not
Damn,
you're not
nothing's
on the
really
grind
happening
like
today as far as Pokemon.
So work
streaming for
knows
far
no
too
bounds,
long.
constantly in our
making no
home. We
progress.
are working.
Honestly, that sounds dead boring if both of you just sat around working all day. Do they never just go like, fuck it, let's just have an evening where we watch like The Traitors? I know they probably do, but I think this thing of shaming a work-life balance and boiling it down to if you don't want to be working all the time, you must hate your job is so stupid. Like, I love playing tennis, but I can't play tennis all the time because I'd knacker myself out and I'd be very bored of playing tennis. Too much of something, no matter how much you enjoy it, isn't good. And just because it's seen as productive doesn't make it any different. Eventually, you will burn out.
I've always known that I would end up with someone like James because it would not work otherwise. You know, if someone was saying, right, you need to knock off now, I'd be thinking, well, what? Do you not like my business? Do you not believe in me? Are we not driving towards the same thing? You know.
What? Hi, darling, it's 10 p.m. I'm probably going to get ready for bed. Do you want to stop working and come to bed so we can go to sleep? Why are you asking me that, huh? Did you not believe in me? Do you hate my business? Do you hate me? I don't think we're compatible anymore. No matter how much of a punk you are, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Also, right, I found the business she runs. It's a dog food company. I mean, it was mentioned in that that post that James made earlier on. And I'm sure they make mighty fine dog scram. But the company's about section on LinkedIn is such bollocks. I just have to show you. I think it's only the first sentence of it, but it's like such new age corporate bollocks. Worldpack isn't just a pet food. It's pet philosophy. What does that? That doesn't mean anything. Pet philosophy.
Pokeballs? None.
Pet philosophy. As you might be able to tell from the fact he's posting a lot on social media, written posts and video posts, he seems to be attempting to become an influencer, and I have no idea why, honestly. I've seen other successful, very rich people try and become influencers as well, and it completely baffles me. If you have tens of millions, or maybe even more in the bank, I have no idea why you want to become a fucking influencer. Surely, if you had that much money, you'd have something better to be doing. I know I would have something far better to be doing than whatever the fuck this is. I'm sorry, right? But if I had tens of millions of quid, I am so sorry. As much as I love doing this, I am so sorry, but you never hear from me ever again. Why the fuck would you choose rage baiting on LinkedIn and rotting on social media to get some weird form of validation over living la vida loca? But maybe I'm just a hater, a British hater, a British unmotivated hater. James Watt made another post. In the US, success means you built something great. In the UK, success means you must have done something wrong. When are we going to ditch the cynicism and celebrate hard work? Let's watch the video attached to this post.
Everyone is happy for you. Everyone is invested in your success, and I think that's because of how inculcated they are with the American dream. They see someone successful, they think, hell yeah, well done you, because that could be me. And I think in the UK, sadly, it's tough for entrepreneurs, people being successful, because the attitude is completely reversed. So rather than seeing someone being successful and thinking, hell yeah, that could be me, well done you, it's like, well, that's not me, and there's fairness and there's resentfulness, and they think that successful people are only successful because they cheated or because they did something wrong.
Okay, right, I think there is a sort of twinge of truth to what he's saying here, but I think I hear this a lot, like, oh, in Britain, you're penalised for doing well. People hate you if you succeed in Britain. Well, I don't think that's true. I think there's a bit more to it than that. I think one of those sort of best comparisons you can make in with sort of arguments like this is US stand-up comedians versus British stand-up. US stand-up comedians, a lot of the time, will walk out on stage with like chains, really expensive watch, expensive clothes, like, because that is the culture over there, to be very sort of I don't think flamboyant's the word, but like show-offy, like you show off a lot. And I think that's just US culture. Whereas the UK, no matter how rich the comedian is, they're coming out in like a H&M t-shirt, a £20 pair of jeans, and some like knackered shoes. Because showing off is seen as cringe over here. And it's the same with like success, right? Because I feel as though if you're...
This guy's talking so much, I don't really care. This guy always says nothing good. Heel ball. Okay, I think that's everything we need. No thanks. Let's watch something scary, bro. I want to hear some horror, dude. Ooh, Nexpo. I haven't seen this guy. I think he's good from what I've heard. Let's see what his most popular video is. Some shit about the wall involved. Let's check this out. The darkest lost media.
On April 25th, at this bus stop, one boy, 15 years old, shot and killed a 17-year-old boy with a revolver.
WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota, Bradenton.
You don't want on a diet.
Preview guide.
Lost media is a topic that I have been enamored by for years, yet have surprisingly not formally gotten into.
I hate
the thought of
after the
TV
first like 2 bites
broadcasts,
of any
audio
cake,
with
I
VHS footage that have been lost to time is fascinating, and the links that people go to find them is incredible.
Oh, lost media.
So
this is
much
about dark
and
lost
disturbing
media.
content has existed even before the internet. Yet the aim of this series is to dive into them, their search, and their stories, because, as it turns out, some of the darkest lost media out there seems to have always existed.
Liberal. Let me go in there and heal my
among us.
Oops, wrong way. This stream's a lot I don't know if I'm crazy, I feel like it's a lot more quiet. I like this one. I feel like I'm a little more tired this time. That's definitely a problem. Slowing me down a bit. Drinking an energy drink and I'm trying. Okay. Not a whole lot as far as Twitch, but to be fair, I'm not a very Twitch heavy stream.
The following is a presentation of the Christian Television Network.
Woo! Joy Junction. Isn't this the... Wait, hold on. Isn't this just the place that burned down? I've already heard about Joy Junction.
His home and computer, they would find
He's also with pedophiles involved.
Your support would mean the world to me. The year is 1928, and a romantic disaster film about Noah's Ark hits theaters.
Oh.
Directed by a man named Michael Curtis, it premieres during a transitional period between silent movies and talkies.
Where do I go now?
Or films with actual spoken dialogue.
Talkies?
Because of this, it's mostly regarded as a hybrid film, with long scenes being played over music. And with it comes a healthy dose of extensive criticism.
Buy a bunch of lemonade.
Most of the backlash is due to its runtime, clocking in at a whopping 2 hours and 15 minutes long, with considerable portions containing awkward dialogue and drawn-out scenes. Sitting through this movie is, to put it lightly, a considerable undertaking.
Oh, jeez.
Because of this, the film is pulled for revision, and the cut content is never shown again.
Okay.
A good portion of the cut footage came from what the movie is mostly known for today, and that's the flood scene.
There's gotta be something past here, because that's where, like, I encountered those gravel lining up in the move. Oh my god. Oh my god. The water. It's raining.
In it, we can observe a slew of actors fighting their way out of a crumbling temple and towards the Ark to stay alive. Yeah. It's a grandiose set with a lot going on, and keeping in mind the time period, all of this was pulled off with practical effects.
Yep.
These people were legitimately submerged.
Yep. A lot of movies have practical effects, so yeah, that shocker, I guess. Makes sense. You got this, doop da doop.
Some might consider the acting
Go
here
liberal.
to be pretty well done. Like I said, this scene is grand, and due to the time period, it's all pulled off practically.
Magnitude.
Is, some of these actors weren't actually acting, as during this scene, 3 actors drowned and one reportedly lost their leg. This was the result of over 600,000 gallons of water being dumped across the set. Something that the film's extras were reportedly unaware of.
What do you mean they were unaware
of? That before filming commenced, Michael Curtis was warned against putting so many people in danger. However, he shrugged it off, claiming that the extras were expected to be prepared for anything.
Ass drowning right there.
Quote, they're just gonna have to take their chances.
He didn't tell him, hey guys, there's gonna be water, make sure to swim up, I guess?
You can see these deaths happen on screen with a much more fleshed out flood scene. However, since the revisions, that original version is forever considered lost.
Wow, then didn't keep it in the film? What's the point then?
Curtis was in pursuit of relentless perfection. He wanted this movie to be grand and authentic. However, in this chase came a loss of life that did not need to happen.
How do you lose a leg?
Noah's Ark forever stained with an enduring legacy of tragedy.
Bad reps for Christianity going on right now, huh? We had that earlier incident, now we have this. What is up this way? What do they want us to do?
To the world, got to get online. Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Why did it slow down? It's stupid. Where the hell are we? I don't remember this. What?
On the 2nd of July 2014, an ad was made on Craigslist.
Can't possibly manage everything.
It came from an 18-year-old girl named Brooke Slocum and was but a simple request for cash.
At this point. Where are my managers? John,
I need $50 by 3:30 p.m. today. I can pay you back later tonight, but I need gas and some mess
all the time.
Everyone has bronchitis at my house, and I do not want to get sick. I'm 8 months pregnant, and my lungs are all squished as is. If you could help, me and my daughter will greatly appreciate it.
What do I want my words to be?
Untouched. For 10 days.
How do I delete?
At 10:08 p.m. on the night of July 12th, Slocum receives an email from a man going by the name Mike's Hard. I can host. What are you thinking? I'm 25. This was a reply to other, separate ads that Brooke made around the same time period, in which she would solicit sex for money.
Oh!
According to her friends, it wasn't willingly, as her then boyfriend, 25-year-old Charles Oppenheer, would coerce her to do this, while accompanying her during these meetups.
What does accompany mean?
Reluctant,
You watching?
Slocum responds 20 minutes later.
Mike's hard.
Well, we're looking for donations if possible. Kinda in a tight spot, and we have a baby on the way. As far as the fund goes, though, there won't be any.
I already registered it. I thought I just put it in.
How does $120 sound? I can drive you anywhere if you need.
Great land stream.
No, we can travel, just can't host is
Help.
all. When and where would you like to meet up?
I like to outside in a park around 11:30.
Jesus.
Okay?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for indecent exposure or anything. I can't go to jail being 8 months pregnant.
It's cop-free. It's a park, but behind it there are lots of woods. No cops at all.
Help.
This last email arrived at 10:59 p.m. And
help!
I knew
you were the one.
Needless to say,
what can I say?
Slocum ended up accepting.
My business ventures are always the best.
Trip to Gazan Park in Wyoming, Michigan.
That was time for your next anointment. I almost forgot. My assistant, you heard me. I must leave now. Please help our newest member. Yes, help me. Help me. Help me. Help. Help. Pleased to meet you. How should we address you? Sorry, I looked down for a second. What the fuck? Pardon? You can call me Lord.
It's midnight.
No. No. You can call me.
The couple arrives, with Mike pulling up shortly after. Initially believing this to be another sex meetup, the two approach Mike without much concern.
How'd they get the recording of this? This is crazy.
Sometime during the next few minutes, Brooke is grabbed, bound, and shoved into the trunk of Mike's car.
Oh boy.
In haste, Charles tries to help. However, is unsuccessful, resulting in a violent altercation between the two. It's unclear how long this fight lasted.
Help me!
What is certain is that during this, Charles was violently killed.
I had to do it. That's what you do if you go to Portland.
Mike
if you ever come down to Oregon,
you
go to Portland, you see the homeless people on the street, you go,
help me!
Help!
And without so much of a single witness,
and then they leave you alone.
And alongside Charles' head and Brooke Slocum stood behind him.
Wait, what do you want from me again, woman?
Drives off.
I'll make it more attractive. No, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to do any of this. Shut up. Let me go. What the hell? Oh, we're in a new city.
After realizing that Oppenheer's car
two-car homeless
had not
camera
moved in days,
police began probing
on his whereabouts. When asked, his parents drummed up nothing. His work, nothing. No one knew where he was, but his car was there.
Oh, it's this girl.
And so they begin searching the park on July 17th, 5 days after the incident with Mike's heart.
Started sharing gear
Upon
station.
scouring
Gear
the
station. What the hell's happening? Please battle with me? Sure.
They then discover a headless
Rosa.
body under some brush. And it was later identified.
Okay, sure. Aren't you the main character?
In the coming hours, it was realized that
that's the
single,
other main character.
His girlfriend too was missing.
I hope I don't die here.
Authorities obtain a search warrant for her apartment and begin searching her laptop. On it, there were a myriad of conversations. However, one thread from Mike's heart stood out among the rest.
Whoa, that's actually
the Internet Crimes Against Children unit was called in for analysis of the real name behind the alias, and they found that this address was tied to another email, which was tied to a Facebook for a man not named Mike.
Let me switch. Pull out my own ditty.
Brady Ostrike.
We're watching The Darkest Lost Media. This one's about like some guy who got like killed, kidnapped some chick or something.
They stake out near his home while they await a search warrant. There wasn't enough evidence for an arrest warrant by this point, so that was a frustrating roadblock.
Gee, hell yeah,
the
Pig
hours
Night.
tick by
Hell yeah, Pig Night.
However, around 9 p.m. on the night of July 17th,
no,
Brady would
don't
be
attack
spotted
Pig
jumping
Night.
into his car and leaving his home. A few moments later, he stopped by a nearby officer. Before they could get to him, though, he takes off, leading to a grueling pursuit.
I'm gonna kill this stupid Pokemon. No, you stole my kill. Stop! I get experience. Oh yeah. Oop doop. Oopa doop. Work up. Hell yeah. I love working up Pokemon. User is roused. Yeah? And its attack is special attack. Yeah, that's pretty good. You could remove that for...
Eventually, he loses control and crashes into a cement barrier.
No, wait, Fire Fang. Fire Fang sucks compared to your other moves.
As the officers pull up for apprehension, however,
learn.
He on the
Work
head
up. Hell yeah.
falls forth to his death.
Wake up slap. Falls to death. What the hell's going on? Wake up slap on me? That's not fair. Huh. Too bad I'm stronger.
A few seconds later, police approach and search his vehicle. In it was 31-year-old Brady Ostrike, dead in the front seat. And in the trunk, stuffed within a suitcase, was 18-year-old Brooke Slocum and her unborn daughter.
Jesus.
Both of whom were deceased.
Jesus.
Upon searching Ostrike's home shortly after, they discovered a plethora of ropes, knives, swords, cages, straps, and bizarre writings that make little to no sense at all. His toilet was inoperable.
Please
and
move
the
on to
entire
your
place
goal. I am
was
Emmett. I
nothing
lost
short
other
of rancid.
Your commission is perfect. You're very strong trainers. Thank you.
Most interesting of all, however, was the discovery of cameras.
All
As it turned
do we have to go
he
on
had
there
them all over
on
his
a train?
home so he could
Is that our
document
next
his actions.
stop?
And
So
what you're
tough.
seeing here is Ostrike as he
Stronger.
prepares the
We're doing that
basement.
at all.
He
Thanks,
kept
Peter.
Slocum
It's a
in for
token of
those
my appreciation.
agonizing
Please
5
take it.
days.
What's this?
Now, there exists footage of Brady Ostrike's grueling torture of Brooke Slocum. However, you'll never see it. The police department has gone on record to say that they will never release it, however describe it as something straight out of a nightmare. During the time Slocum was captive, and even when police were right outside the home, she was locked in handcuffs with a chain around her neck. Reportedly, Ostrike had bound her arms to the ropes hanging from the ceiling and left her dangling while he sexually assaulted and tortured her before strangling her to death. All of this was captured on film.
Oh.
Years later, Oppenheimer's head was found off some back roads, 17 miles north of Gizon Park.
Oh God.
It's a chilling end to a disturbing online saga, and really drives home the fact that you really don't know who it is you're meeting with on Craigslist, dating apps, OfferUp, what have you.
Yeah,
until
maybe
you
don't
actually come
offer
face
your
to face.
girlfriend for sex. Have her get killed.
What began as a simple request for just $50 had led to the loss of 3 lives, following a days-long nightmare orchestrated by a depraved man. The torture footage is, as of 2022, considered indefinite lost media that may never see the light of day.
Well, thank God.
However, considering what exactly it entails, I don't think we'd really want it to.
Yeah. Save our game. Our team's really weird right now. I definitely did not expect this kind of team. When does Sandslash evolve?
Coast is the one. Coast Federal.
Living color.
Win Armstrong for Coast Federal.
WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota Break.
Level 22, that's an easy evolution. Hold up.
The year is 1972, and a reporter named Christine Chubbuck eagerly lands a job at WXLT Channel 40 in Sarasota, Florida.
Like
initially hired as a reporter, she was reassigned to a spot named Suncoast Digest, a local affairs segment that ran at 9 a.m. every Saturday. During her time there, she'd become attracted to a fellow reporter named George Ryan and would seek his attention by baking him cakes and expressing a desire to hang out. When she realized that he was already romantically involved with another coworker, however, it was detrimental to her self-image, as Christine historically had difficulty finding love.
Aww.
According to her family, she'd go on dates with various men throughout the years, however had trouble connecting socially with them.
With the amusement park.
On top of this, by 1973, Chubbuck underwent surgery to have one of her ovaries removed.
Wait!
And as a result, her doctors began to pressure her, claiming that if she wasn't able to conceive within 23 years thereafter, she may never be able to.
Former gym? What? Whoa, hello, gym guy.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Dude, sick. This used to be a gym and
Super spy Fred Flintstone is off on the trail of the mysterious green goose, a master of
Tonight we begin with the death of a man armed with scissors. He was shot by police 24 times.
Do something. Get him to do something about the problem. Meantime, they say they're going to back the leafleting up with a meeting this Friday with city and state officials.
Good evening. More than 100 people were reported dead in a plane crash near New York Kennedy Airport this afternoon. The plane was an Eastern Airlines 727.
As 1974 approached, Chubbuck witnessed a shift in news methodology. Christine always had a desire to pursue what she believed to be high-impact stories about issues affecting the community. However, WXLT executives were leaning more towards stories that were juicier, per se, utilizing fear and sensationalism to drive viewership, in turn generating revenue. The news she was tasked with reporting began to shift further and further towards spectacle and shock, and she frequently rallied against this to no avail. Resultingly, she became stuck in a mindset in a world that she was growing to hate.
By rich boy Roland.
Okay. Her personal life. Everything around her.
Jeez. What level is my... Okay, Doopadoop's 25. I should be able to handle this. Fire punch.
Oh no. This is Channel 40 Weather Watch. It's going to be even cooler tonight tomorrow night than tonight. The reason for this, with the passage of the cold front today, when we picked up some showers, skies have cleared very nicely.
You're going to have to be quicker than that, pal.
On the 15th of July, 1974, Christine enthusiastically entered the station.
Roller coaster.
Instead of opening Suncoast Digest traditionally,
thanks, man.
She claimed that there was a newscast she had to read to open it. Something that hadn't been done hitherto. She takes her seat at the news desk, and for the first 8 minutes, opens her segment about 3 national news stories in a shooting that took place the day prior.
That was weird. Oh, am I back at the beginning?
A film reel of the shooting was supposed to play, but had jammed, leaving a few moments of dead air. In response, Christine apologized for the error before taking out a script she had handwritten and reading to the viewers.
Nearing its finale.
The following.
I'm also a Pokemon trainer who was toughened up by Miss Alyssa. Awesome. Why aren't you challenged by poor kid Langley? Because they're sad. Following audios to be authentic. Final moments. Death audio. What the fuck are we listening to? Wait.
This weekend, being typical of the recent rash of violence, saw one man stabbed, another assaulted, and a third shot and wounded. Sarasota police report the finding of an 18-year-old, a man by the name of David Wynn, in the parking lot of Friendly Tavern on 27th Street.
Yeah.
He had an apparent stab wound in the chest, which, according to witnesses, was inflicted by James Whitworth during a fight. Police charged Whitworth with aggravated assault. Wynn is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. The second attempted armed robbery in a week has involved law enforcement officers from both Sarasota and Manatee County.
One shot? How? Doopadoop's a fucking force. Don't fuck with Doopadoop. Damn, 55 attack, no wonder you don't fuck with Doopadoop. Holy shit, my Doopadoop's goated.
Bradenton Airport on US 41 was the site of an attempted armed robbery and shooting. TV40 newsman Bob Peterson was on the scene shortly after it began, and he filed his report.
No. Let me see if I should.
For those of you who saw late night weekend news watch last night, we did have a film report and a commentary by Bob Peterson. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties and cannot transmit.
What is this audio? There's nothing
happening. Tonight at 5:30, and we'll have that story for you then. As of this morning, Race Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news. TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide.
At this moment, Christine drew a Smith & Wesson revolver that she had hidden in her bag, placed it behind her right ear,
oh, shit.
and fired, immediately falling forward onto her desk. In a frantic response, the tech directors quickly faded the broadcast to black and scrambled to play a movie thereafter.
Roller coaster.
Calls began to flood in, with viewers questioning the authenticity of what they just witnessed, with some believing that this was just a morbid joke or a prank. However, it was far from it.
Okay, you're not going to show us the death audio? You're just going to show us the pre-death audio? Why'd you give us a warning?
The news director, Mike Simmons, had discovered 2 pages of a script left behind by her.
Stupid.
The first page contained what we heard prior. However, the second was a follow-up, intended to be read by a third party.
So I hear the gym leader, let's throw this roller coaster.
Today, Christine
the gym leader.
During a live broadcast. She was rushed to Sarasota Memorial Hospital, where she remains in critical condition.
God. How long
Surprisingly,
are you
Christine's prediction turned out to be correct. Not only because she was at that very hospital, but because she remained in critical condition for 14 hours until her eventual death.
Really?
Christine's body was cremated and spread in the Gulf of Mexico, marking the end of a life full of despair.
What?
To those around her and to her loved ones, however, an agonizing void was left that would forever go unfilled. Reportedly, only one tape of this incident existed and was kept by Bob Nelson, the station's owner. After his death, his wife Molly would inherit it before handing it over to a law firm for good. As of now, this is where it lies.
I guess
and
I'll
for
leave.
the foreseeable future,
My bad.
may never see the light of day.
Okay. Cool, I guess. Asshole. I was like ready to hear some scary shit, but I guess not. Tape 05. Fuck this guy. Where's my future? Where's my future? Where's my future girlfriend / Rolls? No, wait, that sounds wrong. That sounds wrong. That sounds wrong. Side quest girlfriend.
We will
Who
return
gives me a
after
Rolls?
these messages.
That's the only way to get Rolls in this game. And I want a Rolls on my team. I told I said that I'd give myself one extra Pokemon.
Absolutely nothing. The answer could be
Broken
completely
extra
mundane. However, the
random
footage in this
dropped
section
item.
has personally stood out to me because of how bizarrely out of place it is and how little info there is about it. I was going to put it in the next disturbing things. However, I think it fits better here.
Hello?
Let us begin.
I'm the owner of the X transceiver. I'm using an old X transceiver right now. It's on the audio, sorry. Thanks for finding it. Truth is, I want to come pick it up right away now. I'm very busy. Right now, I'm very busy with work, and I'm not in a place where I can stop and come get it.
Beetlejuice makes its debut. Journey, Survivor, Guns N' Roses, and our favorite Rick Astley are on the airwaves.
My name is Nick.
And over on a stand-up comedy show named Evening at the Improv, a child actor turned musician named Corey Feldman is world premiering his latest track.
So please take care of it for me. Also, I'm sure you want to keep in touch until I can come pick up my extra.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start the show off tonight a bit differently than usual. What I'm going to do is I'm going to world premiere my song that I just finished writing and producing with Michael Damian from my new movie Dream a Little Dream with Jason Robards. It's called Something in Your Eyes. I'm going to do it right now.
I don't know why were you singing that. I found a revive in the trash. What is happening? Okay. Awesome. Buy another lemonade.
As we can see, he had a mixed reaction from the audience. Clearly lip-syncing and taking inspiration from Michael Jackson, he employs dance moves in a musical style that attempts to emulate them. Upon looking through comments about him on YouTube, it's clear that history hasn't exactly been kind to Feldman. But that's beside the point. The reason I bring this video up in the first place is because towards the song's end, Feldman's producer makes an incredibly strange cutaway to something that is very out of place for a video like this. Have a look.
Shoot, I can't stop. Got insurance, ready? Yes. Oh. What the fuck?
What is this? And why is it here? Nowhere in this song does Feldman make any sort of mention about a woman being bound to a pool table. And after performing a cursory scan of his other music videos,
killing a
comedies
woman.
like this
Ooh.
never happen again.
Ow. Does he get
This
that?
seems eerily out of place, and discussion about this is painstaking
What?
and few and far between. The only
Dude,
mentions I could
doesn't
find
every
about
music
it
video
were
have
from
that?
Reddit and a
Dude,
few YouTube
when you make a
comments.
music
However,
video,
none
you
of
have to
them garnered
tie
much
up a woman
attention,
to a pool
and their
table
sources were
naked,
pretty much
torture
non-existent.
her, kill her, and then
With that being
upload
said,
it. Oh my
let's
gosh,
circle back to
people
the
don't know
footage
how
so we can
music
break it
works.
down ourselves.
The music industry is cooked, guys. Nobody understands
As we
how
can see,
it works.
the video of this woman was patched in post-production.
No, I
Unlike the
thought
other cutaways that happened prior, this
I thought
one
the
has a different
camera
border.
teleported.
It's in black and white and seems to be slightly lower quality than his music video.
Fury swipes.
In the
Okay, better than
footage,
Fury
we have a woman
Cutter.
with brown or black hair tied up on each corner of the pool table. Is in what appears to be a small room
Fury
with a
Cutter.
swinging light above her, and
Yeah.
seems to be moving because of discomfort.
Cinematography 101, right?
To
The
me,
teleporting
this
camera
footage could
trick
be
that
one
happens
of
all
three
the time.
things. Either it's a scene from an obscure movie, a cut of a film, or it could be from a legitimate film.
Or it could be a tied up
Personally,
woman.
I believe it's one of the first two, given how obvious this cutaway is on something that's been seen by hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
I don't want to ride with this chick.
If this were truly as sinister as it's
I have
been
to ride
rumored,
with my
it would
girlfriend.
be a pretty stupid move to put it
Why are you
there.
so quiet? Hey, are you scared?
Regardless, this
A little
cutaway
bit.
is one of the weirdest edits I have ever seen, and I'm still struggling to drum up a reason as to why it's there in the first place.
Clang, rumble,
I'm
rumble,
curious if you
rumble.
know
Are we
anything
gonna
about
die?
this, if you've seen it before, if you've heard about it, anything. This is a weird little mystery, and this is where I'm calling for your help.
Daddy, mommy, save me!
Who is the woman on the table?
Everyone knows teleportation. Stop looking at me. Okay, alright. I'll let you out this time. Next thing going down, don't forget it.
Even apart from the internet, the world is dark.
Hello,
so
clown.
many pieces of media have been forgotten and lost to time. And in this series,
What is
I aim
this?
to document and bring those back to light.
Oh, this is a gym. Oh,
Thank
shit.
you so
Okay.
much for joining me in this first
I
installment
just
of
did
The
the other
Darkest
gym. I
Lost
think it's
Media.
either a poison or
I truly
psychic
appreciate
type.
each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos, and I truly apologize for the delay on this
Hear
one.
that clown
I
noise.
had to completely
Have a
rework a
haircut.
section due to
Yeah?
copyright issues, so it set me
Heads
back
up.
pretty badly. Nonetheless, I really hope you guys like this. I made this series with the goal of it standing toe-to-toe with disturbing things in terms of quality, and I'm thrilled to keep this going if you would have me.
No, because on the first episode you gave like 3 out of 10 as far as disturbing shit. Like, it was disturbing, but you told it in the most boring, slow, terrible way. I see you have a part 2 here with way less views, and I can't help but wonder how dog shit that one is, and I don't care. I'm gonna go watch Nick Crowley. Oh, Nick Crowley uploaded, baby. YouTube's darkest videos. Nick Crowley, he does the same editing style. I think he's the original. The other guy's kind of like a copy of Nick Crowley. I think this guy's the OG though. As far as this weird editing style, it's a little bit corny at times, but at the same time, he gets some really interesting shit. So I'm just skimming through this to see if I know what this is. One especially replayed part in the middle here. I can't wait to see what that is. 33% disturbing. Yeah, you know, that last video was like 20%, I'd argue. Like, let's see how this one is though, because even though, okay, just one more thing to consider. This is the guys comparing them. Just keep in mind this is the 7th one, 7th YouTube's darkest videos, whereas the other one we were watching the first one. So the first one you have infinite plethora because you haven't discussed any yet, whereas 7th one you've probably gone through quite a fat stack. So let's keep that in mind when we watch this video. And before we watch this video, I just want to look up one thing on the side here, just so we can phone calm area city. I just want to figure out. I get a little guide on the side here so we can deal with this. Here's the city. Wait, what? Oh. So we're not doing this. Apparently the trades... Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So... we have to be level 50. So it'd be so far into the game that it wouldn't really matter. Okay. Great. Let's watch our video.
It's December 4th, 2003.
Already
I'm
worse.
gonna go try to get them to stop doing that.
A police officer walking in a local park in Arlington, Virginia, is approached by a concerned family, claiming that someone in a nearby neighborhood had been shooting off a flare gun. The officer could hear it too, and following the sound, he eventually found himself at the home of 56-year-old James Yu. The man lived alone in his half of this duplex, and was described by neighbors as a recluse, known to exhibit unusual behavior. Across his social media, he made posts claiming that he was the victim of fraud at the hands of all sorts of government agencies, as he had a deep distrust of the US government
the same
as well
profile
as law
picture for
enforcement.
everything?
And he believed that numerous people were attempting to kill him, like his ex-wife, the FBI, and even his neighbors.
She's trying to get me,
His posts seemed entirely nonsensical, and so did many of his actions. In the months prior, he had covered up all of his windows with garbage bags and aluminum foil, and he even wrapped his trees in toilet paper. And though these actions are entirely harmless, on this day, things were becoming far more troubling. When police arrived at his home, Yu would be seen firing his flare gun out of his window and into the air, over and over again, and despite repeated attempts to get him to stop,
Arlington County Police! Stop shooting the flares! Mr. Yu!
he didn't let up, shooting 41 flares in the span of just 25 minutes.
What?
And he did it all with no explanation. In fact, he didn't even say a single word. Understandably, police were eager to get Yu out of his home for questioning, as at this point it wasn't obvious whether or not he was a threat. And so for hours and hours they called out to him, first asking and then demanding that he exit his home.
Oh, okay, I gotta go to the thing.
Arlington Police.
I gotta go on the train. Battle Pokemon on the train.
We have your building surrounded.
But still, there was no response.
Do this battle.
Growing impatient and worried that
Okay,
Yu
that's
might be
Mr. Yu.
planning something,
He
the police
shoots
would eventually
flares.
bring in a specialized vehicle to bust down the door and spray the inside of the home with gas, all in an attempt to draw Yu outside.
James, stay away from your front door. Stay away from your front door, James.
And in response, Yu began firing once again. Only this time, he wasn't using flares.
Oh shit,
And
he's
instead, he
firing
was now
guns?
yielding an actual gun.
Oh shit.
Thankfully, none of these shots connected, but with the situation becoming increasingly dangerous, the officers decided to fall back, as they carefully came up with a new plan for apprehending Yu. Though whatever they had been planning would never come to fruition.
Yeah.
See those Pokemon? I'll take Diddy. And see how far he gets, I guess. Oh, first Diddy, then Koopa, then Fleur, then... Okay, just them three, yes. Okay. Enter. Okay. And confirm. What the fuck? Wait, sorry, part... Holy shit! Holy shit! What the fuck?
In a split second, the home was gone, as a massive explosion rang out from inside the house, reducing the entire structure to rubble.
What?
Inside the house, Yu had stored 55 gallons of gasoline in his basement, which he saved for that moment to ignite with no warning and no explanation. Based on the footage, it's been theorized that Yu's actions were an attempt to lure police into his home so that he could then set off this explosion and take them all out along with his neighbors, as he genuinely believed that both parties were conspiring to kill him. Though somehow, when the smoke cleared, no civilians or police officers had so much as been injured. All that was found in the rubble was the remnants of a single body.
Jesus
Though for a moment, this wasn't the end of James Yu's story. Before that body could be identified, reports across social media began emerging showing that James Yu was somehow still alive.
What? Dude, this is immediately already a billion times better.
After the blast, comments were being made on what appeared to be Yu's YouTube channel, where he stated that this whole thing was a cover-up and that he wasn't even inside the home when the standoff started. Which, looking back, we never actually see him, and we also never hear his voice.
What the fuck?
Numerous posts pointing out this development would go viral and cause mass confusion about the story, which was only heightened when it was revealed that the body inside that building was in fact James Yu. Though in the end, it wasn't really as mysterious as some originally thought. As it turns out, the posts showing these comments failed to realize that this wasn't actually Yu's account, and instead it had a completely different username, with the account likely having been created as nothing more than a hoax. To this day though, there are some that still believe that this was all some sort of massive cover-up. But in reality, it just seems that this was the result of a man gripped by crippling paranoia and loneliness, with it all coming to a head in what has gone on to become one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Board the single train. Sure. YouTube's darkest videos. Apparently, dude. Holy shit. That's an opener. Oh, hello, child.
The internet is a dark and disturbing frontier. This year alone, countless people have fallen victim to high-profile data breaches, raising serious concern about personal information security. Ticketmaster experienced a breach compromising over 560 million of their customer records. But most alarming of all, the National Public Data announced that they too had suffered a breach, where a staggering 2.9 billion records were leaked, potentially impacting every single American. And these leaks included critical personal information, such as full names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, and even social security numbers. If you haven't been taking your online security seriously, then it's time for a change. But thankfully I feel secure because I've been using today's sponsor, Aura.
Jesus Christ.
There was really nothing else like it.
Whoa.
This obscure 27,000 square foot structure allowed visitors to enter into what must have felt like another dimension. It was an exhibit called Dream Space, and was the creation of British artist Maurice Haggis, a 74-year-old artistic visionary obsessed with the idea of creating large-scale surreal environments. And this was his magnum opus. The structure was inflatable, akin to a massive bounce house, and once inside, guests were confronted with a labyrinth of brightly colored walls and cells, twisting and turning into some sort of surreal maze that patrons were told to lose themselves in. This piece of art premiered back in 2004, and due to its inflatability, it was actually built to travel, making stops in major cities in the UK, before it was eventually set up at Riverside Park in Durham on the 22nd of June, 2006.
I like that.
The very next day, 68-year-old Elizabeth Collins would visit the area with her husband and her daughter, as well as her 14-year-old grandson. And spotting this unusual structure in the distance, Elizabeth's grandson insisted on checking it out, excitedly taking off his shoes and running inside. And while the rest of the group was more apprehensive about entering, Elizabeth eventually decided to accompany him, leaving her husband and daughter on the outside, though not before turning back to them and joking that she was going in to find peace and serenity. Outside, Elizabeth's husband and daughter sat at a nearby table and enjoyed a cup of tea whilst conversing about the events of the week, only for the man to turn his head and notice that Dream Space was slightly moving, to which he excitedly said, "Oh, it's a ride, it's a ride. I wish I had gone on it." The daughter then turned her head to see the structure as it began to rise up off the ground.
What?
To which she chillingly responded, "It's not a ride."
Oh shit. This could end my run. Wait, I need to switch. What am I doing? I need to switch out to Diddy. Oh my god. Were there people in there? Holy shit. Holy shit.
In that moment, Dreamspace had snapped from its moorings and was blown into the air by a massive gust of wind. Agus just so happened to be standing at the entrance as it began to shift, and noticing what was happening, he grabbed on as he desperately tried to hold down his entire life's work, though clearly this was of no use. And after being lifted in the air, his grip failed, sending him falling back to the ground below where he lay staring up at his creation that was now flying 30 feet above him.
Oh god, I gotta switch out. Okay, let's see. Do something.
Inside, there were as many as 30 people who were now being thrashed around this giant inflatable structure in a scene that I truly can't even imagine. The claustrophobia of it, the dizzying colors, the screams. It's genuinely one of the most horrific scenarios I've ever heard. The inflatable structure was airborne for well over a minute, folding into itself before finally crashing back down into a parking lot, leaving behind what was described by witnesses as a field of bodies. Worst of all, the majority of those in attendance were families with small children, with one 7-year-old girl recounting her experience, saying,
from this battle,
"It was very scary, people were screaming. I saw a lady clinging on, and then falling out, and then she was lying on her back with people around her. I think she died." This lady was most likely 68-year-old Elizabeth Collins, who had been ejected from the structure when it was in the air, with her injuries being catastrophic and unsurvivable. Of all the others now sprawled throughout this field of grass, most were left injured, but thankfully not in serious condition. Though this wasn't the case for 38-year-old Claire Fernandez, who had been inside during the accident with her 2 children. And despite her kids surviving, she was sadly not so lucky, with Claire and Elizabeth being the sole fatalities
Oh, he's
of the
dead.
incident.
No, he's not, because that's crazy.
The video is terrifying, and though it's easy to say that this could have been so much worse, considering how many people were in Dreamspace at the time, the consequences were still catastrophic, as it devastated 2 families and likely left many others at the scene traumatized for life, especially the young children. But how could this have happened? Well, that day was particularly warm, which likely caused the air inside the structure to expand, causing a hot air balloon-like effect, which was then exacerbated by sudden strong gusts of wind, which eventually caused the structure to go airborne, as in the end, it just wasn't properly secured for the conditions. Soon after the incident, Maurice Agus was arrested for manslaughter, though he would ultimately only end up paying a small fine, as he vowed to never create a large work again. Just a few years later, in 2009, Maurice Agus would pass away, with his legacy forever being defined by this devastating footage.
Jesus Christ. It's stupid again.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Serena.
On October 2nd, 2006, police entered the home of 31-year-old Elaine Campione, where inside, they found the woman speaking incoherently.
That's terrifying.
Next to her was a VHS camera, depicting a series of disturbing events that had transpired within the home over the previous months and days, with the footage eventually finding its way onto YouTube.
If I didn't die or get injured, like if I could not feel pain, I'd pay to experience that.
It's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
The tape starts with Elaine pointing her new camera at her daughter Serena. It was her 3rd birthday, and to celebrate, Elaine left a brand new bike in the living room.
What is it?
Days later, the footage continues, showing Serena once again as Elaine asks,
How does Mama like?
Had dreams of falling on my head off of the overpass.
Oh, I love you more than that. How much does Mama love you?
Elaine then shows her other daughter Sophia, who was just a baby, before turning the camera on herself and showing the kids how the device worked.
Hi. See how the camera works?
So sweet. I really don't want this to end horribly like I know it's gonna.
Hi. Is that Mommy? Hi.
Tennis and basketball, they just have sports
So
here,
far,
dude.
the footage seems like nothing more than your standard family home videotape, and appears completely wholesome. Though with the next recording, the tone begins to shift, and things start to become slightly concerning.
Oh,
This is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess.
Is it?
I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins, the same as Leonardo.
What?
As Elaine shows the camera her home, she begins joking about how they are living in deplorable conditions, before randomly calling out 2 men who she says she hopes burn in hell, all while their children are in the same room. She starts to grow more and more agitated.
All I also believe he should burn in hell. Take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campione's mental and emotional abuse.
Outright saying that she was abused by a man named Leonard Campione, who happened to be her ex-husband and the father of these children.
That makes
and
sense.
she goes on from there, with each moment clearly making the kids more and more anxious.
I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have charged him for the assaults he did to me.
Eventually causing Elaine to
the kid's like
the camera.
And my poor 3-year-old, I did everything to protect. And what are you saying, Sophia? What do you want?
The video then skips forward once more, with this footage being taken just days before the police were called, showing Serena coloring on the floor as Elaine asks,
Who loves ya?
These are such sweet kids. I'm gonna cry if
loves you the
anything
most?
bad actually happens, dude. Like, actually.
That much? Oh, I think I love you more than that.
My
the
big
scene that
one is I'm
unfolds
a very
next was
emotional
recorded on that
person.
very same night, just hours later.
Kids know.
Recording this because Leo and there, are you happy? Everything's gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. You didn't care about our babies. You didn't care about me. You cared about yourself. All you did was hurt us.
In the video, Elaine states that everything is gone, as she speaks to Leo directly, accusing him of having ruined their lives with his constant abuse.
You are truly the devil. And I hate you. 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 And I want you to know how much I hate you.
Disturbingly, the children were nowhere to be seen in this footage, with Elaine eventually addressing them by saying,
God believes me, and God's taking care of them now. They're protected by God. Thank God. Thank you.
They're protected?
Because there's no way I could have them with you. Nothing's good enough for you. It has to always be your way. Well, they're good. And you can have it your way. Your wife and your daughters are dead now. We're all in heaven.
No.
According to Elaine, not only were her children gone, but she was too, as she stops the recording soon after. Despite saying this, the camera would actually start up one more time, where Elaine describes how she was still alive, despite having attempted to OD, which prompted her to call the police. When officers arrived at the home, both Serena and Sophia were found laying in her mother's bed, holding hands, and wrapped tightly in rosaries. Neither of them were alive. 2 nights prior, and directly before filming this message, Elaine had brought them both into the bathroom, as it was time for their nightly baths. And once in the tub, she told them to play a game, one where they would place their heads beneath the water and blow out bubbles. When they did this, Elaine held their heads down, and she didn't let go until she was certain they were gone. This footage is some of the most disturbing that I've ever seen, as we get a glimpse into Elaine's descent into madness in the moments directly before she stole her children's lives. But all of this leaves one obvious question. Why? Well, it was noted during her investigation that the abuse she alleged from her ex-husband Leo seemed to be very real and well documented over the years, leading to Leo not being able to see his children for over a year, with this causing the two to separate, which is when Elaine's mind began to deteriorate.
Fucking bitches
She began
are
believing
crazy,
that people
dude.
were following her and were going to kill her, with this fear of people eventually shifting to a fear of aliens, as she claimed to have seen them on numerous occasions, believing they were following her. Because of this fear, she refused to let her children out of her sight, not even allowing her own parents to look after them,
So she
causing her
fucking
to become so
drowned
attached to
in
these
the
children that she genuinely began to believe that they were all one entity, which made things incredibly concerning when she became suicidal and eventually attempted to take her own life. Despite Leo's more than troubled history, he had supposedly turned his life around in the years leading to this footage, and was eventually allowed to start visiting the children on a limited capacity. And seeing the children and seeing the way their mother was behaving, he began to grow incredibly concerned, and eventually attempted to gain full custody. And it was this bitter custody battle that seemed to be the ultimate factor that led to Elaine ending the lives of her children.
God's taking care of He's protected by God, thank God. Thank him. Because there's no way I could have him with you.
Elaine Campione would be charged with 2 counts of murder and would eventually be sentenced to life in prison, with a possibility of parole after 25 years. Today, she's held in a minimum security prison, where she's free to leave once every weekend to attend church and other functions.
That's stupid. But since it's tougher to kill myself, I'm gonna call the guy. Right? What the? Dude, I need to pause for a minute, dude. I'm like, oh, you can't really tell, dude. I'm like tearing up. It's fucking evil. Like, I want to cry because of that. Holy shit. How? Why am I glitching out so hard? Why is my camera being so buggy? That's crazy. My audio is coming in fine, but my camera quality is like, why am I moving like 1 frame a second? What is going on? Okay. I guess emotions are running so heavy that my thing. Let me restart this real quick. As far as that's concerned, because that's weird. Oh, fuck, dude. Fuck. That's still fucking me up. Okay. Whew. Oh my god. Glitch space. Oh, I'm still part of it, apparently. Okay, it's slightly better. It's still bad. Dude, honestly, I don't care. Oh, fuck, dude. Those kids, that's crazy. Oh, dude, my night's ruined a little bit by that. I can't even lie. Fuck. Crazy. I was gonna say something. See, little girls are my weakness, but I mean, like, emotionally, I'm a fucking pedophile. Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
On April 18th, 2010, a 39-year-old man named Gavin Collins was released from the HMP Ranby prison in the UK. His freedom would last less than 24 hours, as the very next day he suffered a severe mental breakdown, the result of which was captured partially across several video recordings that later appeared on YouTube. This is the story of his rampage. It began at approximately 9 a.m. in the city of Nottinghamshire when Gavin left his home. As he walked down the sidewalk, those in the area reported him acting strangely, muttering to himself that he was Jesus and that he was invincible. Without warning, he then turned his attention to a random home, which he forcefully entered, stole a man's car keys, and took his vehicle, taking off with no apparent destination. Inside the car, the owner just so happened to have 2 cameras, one being a standard dash cam and the other facing inside the vehicle, giving us a look at Gavin and his apparent mental state.
Called a batter train. All aboard.
This is me. Jesus Christ! I'll shut you up with a eyesight I've got. Ain't got this. Come on, let's go, bro. Talk, get rid of all that crap hairs. Let's go!
What the fuck?
Just at a glance, it's obvious that Gavin is completely unhinged. For some reason, he was utterly filled with rage, ripping off the rearview mirror and yelling obscenities and incomprehensible threats at no one in particular.
Fire punch!
I'm descendant of God, and you lock me up!
Fire punch!
And most concerning of all is the speed in which he's traveling, as he starts driving faster and faster, swerving in and out of cars as he passes through busy residential areas, as he reaches speeds that have been estimated to be anywhere from 85 miles an hour to well over 120.
Watch this now! I'm getting stronger and stronger by the second!
But somehow, despite countless close calls, every time he avoids collision, at least for the time being.
Oh, gee. Turn off the video.
In an instant, Gavin smashes the vehicle into a brick home at full speed, with the impact being devastating.
Okay.
And yet somehow through the destruction, Gavin was not only still alive,
oh my God,
but completely unharmed and also completely unfazed. He pulled himself from the wreckage and immediately turned his attention to a woman driving nearby. And within moments, he had forced his way into the vehicle and was behind the wheel once again, continuing this deranged driving spree until once again he crashed. And much like the initial collision, he survived, walking away unscathed before turning his attention to another random home. In pursuit of stealing his third vehicle, he grabbed a nearby concrete slab and began to smash through the home's doors, bloodying his hand in the process, before eventually making entry. Inside were a mother and her 2 children, one of which was 5 years old, and the other wasn't even here. Gavin approached the terrified family, yelling and demanding that the mother give up her car keys, telling her that he was Jesus, and that, because I am Jesus, I will kill you if you don't give me the keys. Without hesitation, she did as he said. Gavin then went to each member of the family, and with his injured hand, he drew crosses on their forehead, out of his own blood, before taking off with his third stolen car.
Oh my God. Okay. Bro's a little convinced, huh?
Once again, Gavin was driving manically, though this time he was even more reckless, crashing into a brick wall and then a cop car.
Oh my God.
Before setting his sights on a pedestrian.
Oh no.
While speeding through a neighborhood, Gavin would see a man standing innocently near a bus stop, and for whatever reason, the sight of this man enraged him, causing Gavin to slam on the brakes and reverse the vehicle, stepping on the gas as hard as he could, and crashing directly into him, leaving him lying there with devastating injuries. Gavin quickly exited the vehicle and found the man lying motionless on the ground, prompting him to shout,
"Oh, as a trainer, don't be a thief."
I killed the devil.
I didn't know you were a trainer.
Minutes later, Gavin would crash yet another car into yet another home. Though this time, the police weren't far behind.
Youch! Youch! What the fuck? What is up with these Pokemon dodge and fire punch? Fire punch must have a low hit rate. Get out here, Diddy. Do what Diddy do. Do what Diddy better do. Diddy dumb. Jesus Christ.
This way.
Oh no! Oh no! Did he just say oh no? Did he just say oh no? Oh no!
His disturbed driving spree to an end. The man that Gavin had struck was 87-year-old Terry Radford, a retired teacher whose injuries were catastrophic, with the man passing away soon after. According to his family, Terry was an incredible grandfather, father, and son.
Dude, the camera's so ass, I might just turn it off for now.
But what's most shocking of all is the fact that any of this was even allowed to happen. As stated previously, this was Gavin's very first day out of prison, and based on the behavior he exhibited whilst in prison, he really should have never been released. Gavin was granted an early release in March of 2019 for charges based around burglary.
They're trying to
but just as he was set to be freed, it was discovered that he had submitted an adulterated drug test, which caused his case to be re-examined and resulted in his release being postponed. In response, Gavin lost his mind. Later that month, he assaulted a prison guard before spraying him with an unknown liquid that contained bleach, before proceeding to set his cell on fire and attacking another officer with a piece of wood. Due to his actions, Gavin was placed into an isolated cell, where less than a week later he started yet another fire, and when an officer entered his cell to put it out, Gavin struck them in the head and pulled out a plastic knife, threatening to slash him, stating that it would be a thrill to kill him.
Oh, okay.
Gavin's stay in prison clearly hadn't rehabilitated him. In fact, it seemed to have made him more violent than ever before, and more mentally disturbed. Though shockingly, despite all of these additional crimes, Colin's release would go on to be approved less than 2 weeks later, with Gavin being set free on April 18th.
I guess he really is the son of God.
Terry Radford would be brutally killed. Gavin was sentenced to 21 years in prison,
Yeah,
and during his trial it was revealed that no drugs were found in his system, and instead this all seemed to be the result of some sort of psychotic episode that just so happened to be captured on camera in one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Gosh. That was great. That was great, bro. That's a 10 out of... That's a 9 out of 10 on the disturbing meter. And that's the guy's first thing, too. That's insane. Let me turn off this camera for a little while. You know what? We don't need the camera on 24/7. We're at the point at the stream where I'm kind of trying to relax and just have fun at this point. So, 1 second. Let me get myself comfortable while I'm at it. I'm just going to be turning off my camera for now. Turn off some stuff. Keep it chill. 9/11, huh? What? What does that have to do with anything? Pokemon smut? Excuse me? Terrible. Okay. Okay. Whew. Whoopsie, sorry, I'm at 9 out of 11. Oh. Okay, buddy. Alright. I didn't even do the thing I wanted to do. Getting out of these Pope robes. Ooh. Alright. That video was great. It actually got me messed up. Like, to make me emotional to that amount was insane. Let's see another video. Darkest Kids. I haven't seen this one either. Dude, I've been missing out. 42 minutes. Oh, we're gonna have a nice time. Darkest Kids TV show. Jeez.
It's the winter of 1985. A family living in a remote region of the Philippines receives a package at their door, which contained a single VHS tape and a note stating that the contents were for the children of the house. And so the kids were gathered up one by one and sat in front of the television where the tape began to play, introducing them to a brand new show called
Life with Grandpa. Whoa. I don't know. Huh.
This was the experience for hundreds of kids across the world, made to watch a seemingly harmless puppet show about a grandpa and his family, with most of the young viewers loving it, gladly watching this episode and the many others that would be sent later on, over and over again, blissfully unaware that what they were being shown would someday come to be known as one of the most disturbing rabbit holes in the history of children's media. This is the story of Life with Grandpa.
Calm down, buddy.
The darkest kid show ever made.
Doopa almost murdered that Minkino? I don't know, that's a cute-ass Pokemon.
Can I persuade you to subscribe?
Before we dive any further down this rabbit hole, I want to first thank today's video sponsor, Saley.
No.
You can use code It's also way safer than it's also more for 1% off.
No.
She loved to play on the steep hillside. Life with Grandpa, won't you come along?
What are we gonna name?
This is Life with Grandpa, a straight-to-VHS show made for children created sometime in the 80s.
I love him.
The program followed a family of humanoid puppets on their journey to teach the audience lessons loosely based on Christianity through the use of stories, skits, and songs, acting as a guide for children to live their best possible lives for Jesus.
We're continuing with some more lessons about prayer. Are you all ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lord. Such sweethearts.
The show was set up in an episodic fashion, never following any main overarching storyline, and instead, each installment would be composed of a series of shorter segments, recounting past experiences from this family, with an occasional musical number thrown in here and there.
We don't have a sad God. We have a happy God who wants us to be happy too.
Unsurprisingly, the main character of the crew was Grandpa, who acted as the show's host, often being the one to teach the episode's central messages not only to his on-screen family, but to all the kids watching at home.
But it's my kite.
But wouldn't you like to pray that some poor little boy who doesn't have so many toys and blessings as you do will find your kite?
Yes, Grandpa.
As he was made to be a wise, almost religious-like figure, whose words were never questioned. Often seen by his side was his wife, Mother Maria. Though for as often as she's shown, she rarely has much to say.
Might as well have another deed name. Dude, 1 HP. Let's see here. Sorry, I gotta always pull up the stats of every Pokemon we catch.
Typically only chiming in when she's reiterating Grandpa's messages to the children. And of the children, there was Davida, Techi, and Davidito, with the latter being one of the show's central figures, landing right next to or potentially even ahead of Grandpa in terms of screen time, as Davidito often got his own segments and told his own stories directly to the audience.
Hello, children. Would you like to hear some exciting prayer adventures?
Yes.
This first story happened when I was very small.
And though it's never outright stated, it's clear that Davidito was put on a pedestal, with the child often getting special treatment and being showered in gifts, as the family clearly seemed to favor him.
Thank you, Uncle Al.
It's
called a kite.
We want to give you a little surprise because you were such a good witness.
This brand new tape recorder is for you.
I like how he talks.
With there never being an explanation as to why. This is the core group of Life with Grandpa, with the only other reoccurring characters being Aunt Sarah and Uncle Elf, a couple that was often shown around the house helping look after the kids. And despite this looking like something pulled straight from the depths of the Uncanny Valley, the content within the show didn't really seem all that troublesome. In fact, it appeared fairly normal,
what else would you
and not
name
too
him?
unlike the
He
many
just
other
looks like the
low-budget
embodiment
religious
of
shows
death.
at the time, highlighting themes like obedience.
Nice, he learned to wake up slap. 31, by the way. That's crazy.
Yes, so the right thing is...
To obey.
Sharing.
To obey.
Good morning, Davida. I have a surprise for you. Oh, can I see it? I would like to share my cars with you. Which ones do you like?
And loving everyone.
That's really sweet of you, David. Thank you for that nice, generous present.
What present?
That nice kiss. A kiss makes a real beautiful gift or present.
Though mixed within these fairly standard teachings, you'll find other moments that are far more unusual.
Don't run down that gravel hill.
Yeah. Okay. Davida.
Oh, Davida.
We gave you
She's
one
bleeding,
rule.
and her cut is all covered with dirt.
Jeez.
And I don't even have a tissue to wipe it with.
Oh no.
I'll just have to lick it clean and spit out the dirt.
Ugh.
The show featured a lot of strange underlying themes that seemed to have nothing to do with religion, or at least not the conventional beliefs of Christianity, with one of the more obvious being its unprompted disdain for doctors.
We'll have to really pray that there won't be a scar.
Soon afterwards, there was no sign at all of the deep gash on Davida's forehead. Surely a doctor would have stitched it, but our God is still a God of miracles. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
As well as its constant endorsement of spanking.
Jesus spanks us because he loves us and wants us to obey and be good.
That's true. Okay, bro.
We're really sorry.
So if the Lord should spank you a little bit or correct you, it's for your own good.
For your own
It's because
good.
he loves you and wants you to be good and obey.
Yes.
And while these are certainly strange,
Brainrot
by
6.
far the most glaring indication that Life with Grandpa wasn't just your typical kids show came from the program's stance on women, with the first major example coming from a song made for the young girls watching on.
6 right here.
So do the dishes and clean the floor, and God will show us something more. I'm ready for any job at all, whether it's great or whether it's small. I'm ready to go, ready to stay, ready my place to fill. Ready for service, lowly or great, ready to do God's will.
The message
Banger,
behind the
bro.
song is clear.
Banger.
If you're a woman, then it's your job to cook, clean, and have babies.
That
and
is
that's
true.
about it, as this is God's will and your sole
That
purpose
is
for
God-
existing.
that is indeed
And while this
God's
ideology
will.
was certainly not as controversial at the time, the show took it even further, as it hammered home this idea to all the children watching on by repeating one line at the end over and over again.
Oh, thank God we didn't get this again. Am I crazy? There's chat not?
Making it clear that this was a lesson that the showrunners didn't want these kids to question.
Chat box is all the way
But
out
as
here.
comically
That's
offensive as
strange.
this song is,
Here we
it was
go.
far from the worst that the show had to offer.
Fire punch.
It's time for our electric song.
In another episode, we're shown a musical number about Grandpa, who's portrayed as a scientist that's
Fire
always
punch.
busy working.
Stop avoiding
Though the
it.
song is really less about him and more about
Fire
his
punch.
love interest.
Stop. What the hell? How is he avoiding it every time? Fucker. Come out here and
A
show what
robot
a real
with long hair
Trubbish
and
does.
nude female breasts.
Oh.
It's one of the most surreal things that I've ever seen on a kid's show. As
Okay.
this thing was clearly meant to be a portrayal of Grandpa's wife and women in general, likening
Oh.
them to robots. Though unlike the previous demeaning song, this number is blatantly perverted, as it not only shows the robot having breasts, but it also shows Grandpa fondling them as well.
What?
And these perversions weren't
What?
even exclusive to its imagery.
Liberal, get out here.
That's when she
What the fuck?
It's shocking for so many reasons, but mainly due to the fact that this was on a show that was literally made for toddlers and young children, who are now being shown this clearly explicit content. And most disturbing of all is the realization that this sexualized material was actually nothing new to the world of Life with Grandpa. Predating the puppets, there was a little-known illustrated book series called Life of Grandpa, with the show practically being a shot-for-shot remake of this book series, featuring the same exact characters and stories. And much like the show, the series was also a religious guide created for children. In its pages, you'll find themes about morality, and lessons made to guide you towards a proper way of living through this religion. But these books also had a very apparent dark side.
Yeah?
One far worse than the show it inspired. In the chapter Real Fathers, we're shown a scene where Techi and Davidito question why they have two different skin colors, despite them being siblings, as Techi noticed that Davidito's skin appeared light brown, while hers was almost pure white, to which Grandpa then explains to them how his wife and their mother had slept with other men. See, God used Timothy and Carlos only to fuck Mama so that I could have you both. They were just like an instrument or tool that Jesus used to help create you wonderful little children for his kingdom. Praise the Lord. This was followed by an in-depth explanation of what that scene looked like, including images depicting the act.
We got bots watching. Great. Thanks. Stream boo.
Examples like this are prevalent all throughout the pages of Life with Grandpa, with erotic material being shown constantly with no regard as to how inappropriate this is to be shown kids. Which begs the obvious question, why? Why was Life with Grandpa so blatantly perverted?
Hypnosis.
Well, the answer lies with the author of the books, and the reason for the show's existence. David Burr.
Wake up.
He shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
Super fan.
And they shall gather together.
Ouch.
That's when Jesus is going to come back to rapture his saints, to gather them together.
Born in 1919, David grew up a devout believer in Christianity, but wanted something more from a religion. He dreamed of one day starting his own group with his own teachings. And in 1968, at the ripe age of 50, he decided it was time to do just that.
Kill this.
The group began in Huntington Beach, California, and went by many names over the years, like Teens for Christ, the Children of God, the Family of Love, the Family International, or just the Family. But regardless of its name, there was no denying what this group was.
That was scary. That was actually really scary.
A cult led by David Burr. Burr would find young hippies and those struggling with drug addiction and mental health issues, and convince them to join his group by stating that the end of the world was coming soon, and that they needed to follow in his path and join his family to save their souls. It was pretty standard cult ideology, but at the time it was extremely effective, with the sect amassing a staggering 10,000 members at its peak.
Never cheered
and at
more
first,
for Diddy,
David got by with fairly standard teachings from the Bible, although this wouldn't last.
Thanks, Diddy.
After some time, Berg began addressing his followers via frequent illustrated messages called Mo letters that featured his ramblings and teachings from the time, with Berg slowly ingraining into his members that the contents of these letters should be taken as seriously, if not more so, than the Bible. In one of these letters sent out in 1972, Berg claimed that God was going to destroy the United States and that the group needed to flee the country immediately, with Berg demanding that his followers spread out all across the globe and open up communal homes where members could live as one, far away from the public eye. As a result, many members packed up their things and left right away, leading to roughly 130 communities being established across 70 different countries, essentially overnight.
Awesome, liberal.
This mass migration had an extremely significant
liberal
impact on the family, as it left practically the entire group outside of the United States, and more importantly, outside of the United States jurisdiction, meaning that Berg can now get away with far more than he used to.
What the hell
and unsurprisingly, this is
doing?
where he began to tighten his control.
Yeah?
The full-time members were made to give up all of their earthly possessions to the group and cease all contact with their family and friends who were not believers, cutting them off from the outside world completely. And these restrictions also applied to the media they consumed.
Wow. Damn it. What? Baddie? We could have had her.
In his teachings, Berg denounced all forms of entertainment made outside of the cult, since he believed that this would poison the minds of his members and potentially sway them into leaving the group. And so, instead, he insisted that his followers only consume media that was produced directly by the family, with these works often being created by Berg himself or the other followers he enlisted, and then shipped directly to the members' homes, leading to hundreds, if not thousands of videos, movies, and TV shows being produced and shared among the family. But for Berg, this wasn't just about providing entertainment. It was really all about controlling the minds of his group, and even more importantly, indoctrination, with his primary targets being children.
Okay, let's go heal first.
From birth, most kids were not shown any media other than what the cult gave their parents, with these works quite literally shaping their minds into following everything that the cult believed in without question. The main themes of these were usually things like always be happy,
more than 70 little muscles form a crowny face,
but only 14 muscles put a smile in its place on your face.
always show love, and never, under any circumstances, question your parents.
Oh, jeez.
Always best to do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy said so. Trust, obey, and do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy said so. 'Cause Daddy knows best.
And Life with Grandpa was no exception, as it too was created by the family in order to instill their beliefs into its child viewers, with the line trust and obey being hammered home time and time again, as those creating the programs didn't want their kids questioning any of the practices, and so they were teaching them to simply smile along and trust the adults. But because the group was the one producing and distributing the content, they basically had no regulations placed on them, meaning that they could include whatever they want in these shows without any repercussions, leading to many of the showrunners exploring some of the group's more controversial beliefs, which becomes extremely troublesome when you realize that the family wasn't just your standard cult, and instead, it was a sex cult.
What? Sorry, what? Sorry, what? Sorry, what?
What are you thinking about? You think about a beautiful naked man and a beautiful naked woman. And what is the first thing that a beautiful naked man and a beautiful naked woman would, of course, naturally do as soon as they saw each other and nobody else around? I think just one look was all it took.
Okay. Hey.
David Berg was a deeply perverted man. The idea of sex consumed him and seeped its way into essentially all of his teachings.
Oh, yes! I just realized that the guy can fly.
Not pina colada. I think they're making
That's disappointing.
And once his followers were outside of the US, he began to preach something he called the law of love, which essentially said that the family should be showing all people love, and that love should come in the form of sex.
I practice what I preach, and I
Come
preach
with me.
sex, boys.
I don't think I have anyone that can fly.
And so he told his followers to open up their relationships to outsiders, calling the practice sharing, as you were made to share your partner in the hopes of enticing new people to join the group. But he wasn't satisfied with just this, and instead he began to mandate that the women of the group participate in something he called flirty fishing. Also known as FF, flirty fishing describes the practice of women going into bars at night in order to pick up lonely men, who they would then entertain for the night. The goal of this was to convince these men to join the family, though more realistically, the goal was also to make money, as they were made to charge for their services, with the women being told to seek lonely businessmen. And this is something that Berg not only pushed heavily, but outright mandated, insisting that every woman in the group do this or face being removed from the family, even those who were married. And Berg was so serious about this that he sent every colony report forms so that they could report how much flirty fishing was being done, in order to check their statistics and make sure that they were up to par. Understandably, many women of the group were concerned by this and wanted nothing to do with it. However, most of them had moved all the way across the world and sacrificed all of their belongings to be in this group, meaning that their removal would leave them with nothing. They were trapped.
My God.
Simply put, Berg was forcing the women of the group into prostitution, and he was shameless about it too, calling them God's whores and Christ's hookers. The worst of all, Berg knew that flirty fishing could put these women in grave danger, as he admitted to them that violent assaults were going to happen, but he said that if you want to live, simply don't resist. And if you do get hurt or even killed, that's entirely your fault, as after all, it was God's will. And this was on top of a myriad of other horrific things that Berg said that I can't even repeat here. But the man saying all of these horrific things was the same man who wrote Life with Grandpa, and he used this medium to normalize his sex cult's beliefs for the children watching, which gives more context as to why women were portrayed in the way they were in these books and the show, as Life with Grandpa was breaking down the young girls watching and grooming them for a life of prostitution that they were made to accept without question. Though the show wasn't only for preparing the kids for the perverse lifestyles they were headed for, and instead, they were already becoming well accustomed to it. Throughout his Mo letters, Berg also began to preach that children should be involved in these affairs and sharing as well, stating that he believed age should have nothing to do with it. In fact, he believed that children should be taught about this lifestyle essentially as soon as they're born. And although, again, I can't read his exact words on this, Berg had declared open season on pedophilia, and much like flirty fishing, it was mandatory.
Jesus.
The abuse that followed is unimaginable, at a scale far too large to fully know to this day. Abuse that the parents of the children not only allowed, but often participated in, with one of the more notorious large-scale accounts coming from something that the group called the Love Video.
And confused.
This movie was a result of Berg sending out requests to all of the parents to send him lewd videos of their children dancing, which he not only took for himself, but packaged together into a long-form compilation video that was then distributed to all of the cult's members, encouraging the others to film similar content, with Berg going as far as creating a guide to help create the perfect video. And not only did many parents go along with this, but many clearly enjoyed it.
Keita shared with us the video that just came from World Services, and it was so inspiring. It was so beautiful. The love video.
And for this couple specifically, this wasn't the only order that they were happily following.
And it was really a blessing too for Joe and Hobo, because they had a good chance to share also with Sally. And so the Lord's really setting us freer and freer to obey and to be free and to show that sample of freedom and love to the world.
Honestly, not worth it. Just forget it.
Life with Grandpa was literally created to indoctrinate kids into a pedophilic sex cult, and it makes you realize why exactly it and so many other of the cult's programs were hammering home this point of not questioning your parents or any adults, and to simply obey and smile.
So the right thing is
because the adults in their lives were now suddenly doing unimaginable things to them, and they were being groomed not to question it, making some of the show's segments horrendous in hindsight.
One very special way you can show the big people that you love them is by giving them lots
My
of
liberal
hugs,
is now a
kisses, and
sand
cuddles.
slash. I don't know they did that.
Oh. A child's love and affection really encourages and inspires the big people.
It was normalizing their abuse, and because of this, many children never questioned the horrible assaults that they endured, assaults that were all fueled and pushed by David Berg's sick perversions.
God created boys and girls able to have children by about the age of 12 years of age. Childhood sex. Yes.
Which were far from theoretical, as Berg himself allegedly partook in this practice repeatedly with his own children and stepchildren, as incest was also a key point of his teachings, and his adult followers rarely dared to question this, as those who refused to partake in Berg's latest teachings were again at risk of removal from the group, which is even more devastating for those who had children, as much like all of their possessions, their kids were pledged and belonged to the family, and the kids themselves couldn't seek help either, as those that refused to trust and obey were sent away to actual prison camps owned by the cult until they were basically reprogrammed.
They made camps. I was sent with my brother to the Philippines. We had armed guards from the Filipino military keeping us in. They would publicly beat you if you asked to leave, then try to break you and get you to confess.
And the group continuously got away with this too, thanks in large part to Berg's orchestration of the group leaving the United States, which looking back was almost certainly done on purpose. Plus, many members were actually living in hiding. In fact, all of the members were made to change their names upon joining the group, and most were told to never give out their last names, meaning that if any child wanted to report that it happened to them, they would be unable to provide even the names of their abusers. And this included Berg too, who at this point lived most of his life in hiding, going by numerous aliases to avoid detection. Aliases like King, Moses, Mo, Dad, and eventually, Grandpa.
My special defense. Finish off that light part. Swallow.
The entire show was about him, David Berg, which is why he was shown as a wise, unquestioned religious-like figure who the children were made to look up to. And that wasn't all, as the characters shown alongside Berg were also members of his real-life family that lived with him in a remote commune. Mother Maria was the nickname of Karen Zerby, David's wife who helped him run the cult and facilitate this era of hypersexualization, while Aunt Sarah was based on Sarah Kelly, the woman in charge of running the prison camp made to punish the kids who dared question the family's beliefs.
Sarah Kelly, who was responsible for me being held against my will in the Philippines.
But the most grotesque detail to come from the revelation of who these characters are was that it showcased David Berg's polygamy, as he was actually married to many people in the real world, and 2 characters on the show itself. Mother Maria and Davida, his then 5-year-old stepdaughter.
Bastard! God!
Davida would eventually go on to tell her story, stating that she had been Berg's child bride.
Doopadoop. You will live on Flirt's legacy.
When I turned 5 years old was when I was implicated into being one of his queens, so to speak.
Along with allegations that she had been victimized by him countless times.
Doopadoop.
And she wasn't the only victim of Berg's perversions.
Train and become strong.
Techi was often sexualized by Berg publicly, with Berg having stories made and illustrated depicting his fantasies about her when she was just a child. On top of this, numerous people within the group also claimed that she had been outright assaulted by the hands of Berg, as well as many others in the group.
Doopadoop and Death will fight for Flirp's name and his honor.
Dressed in such nice dresses and your hair looks so nice? Yes, you look so pretty for all the children that are watching today.
The context of who these characters are makes this already disturbing show that much more sickening. But of all of the horrible stories to come from the real-life characters of Life with Grandpa, there's one that is far and away the most horrific. The story of Davidito.
David is such a handsome boy.
Fire punch.
Would you like for David to share some more lessons?
Yes, Grandpa.
Are you all ready? Okay, David. You have the floor.
His real name was Ricky Rodriguez, and as a baby, he was taken in as Berg's son, following Maria conceiving him with a man after a night of free fishing. And being David's first son, he was given the nickname Davidito. As for David Berg, he viewed this child as essentially a messiah. He began telling his followers that Davidito would one day save them from the apocalypse, causing Davidito to become a celebrity within the group, and worshipped as a religious figure when he was just a baby. Which explains why he was given so much airtime during Life with Grandpa, and why he was constantly being showered with gifts.
We want to give you a little surprise because you were such a good witness.
And for David and Karen, they wanted Davidito's life and childhood to be a guide for all members of the group, as they raised him in what they believed to be the perfect manner for a godly household. And so the couple and several other contributors documented the way he was raised, with daily journal entries that were published as weekly newsletters, and eventually turned into one massive book titled The Story of Davidito. And the family truly believed that this over 700-page book was the ultimate guide for parenting, and showed the only proper way to raise a child. Though what it actually showed was just how badly Davidito was being abused.
Flirp is dead.
Davidito was described laying next to his nude nannies, witnessing orgies involving his own mother, and being touched sexually by the adults around him. With these examples being presented through not only written stories, but actual photographs, with the adults involved having their faces removed and drawings placed over the top of them in order to hide their identities.
Are they having a battle?
The book was not only promoting sexual acts with children, but it was outright showing it, and showing it happen to Davidito. And because of this, we have a daily journal entry of all the abuse that this child suffered, starting when he was an infant. Despite all the heinous acts that had been going on within the family, they had up until this point gone virtually unchecked by the public eye. But the story of Davidito would prove to be the first domino to fall, as the book leaked to the press.
Tonight, the cult Children of God, founded by Moses David Berg, he reportedly sanctioned
These are my 2
sex
goats on
among
my team
children.
right now.
This
Diddy and
immediately
Doopadoo.
became a news story all across the world, and it began shining a light on the family and its twisted beliefs. But despite all the constant news coverage, and the story of Davidito being tangible proof of the cult's horrible practices, there was still essentially nothing done to stop them, as very few arrests were ever made as a result, and even fewer resulted in
Diddy
convictions. So nothing was ever done to
Leave
help
him
Davidito.
alone.
And so during his entire childhood and his early adult years, he stayed with the group. Though the older he got, the more he began to see the family for what they really were.
Kill him
And the constant pain that he was experiencing eventually made him want to just run away from it all. And so, in 1999, that's exactly what he did, fleeing to the United States in the hopes of starting a new life. though this was easier said than done, and no amount of distance was enough to keep him away from his tortured past. At one point during his time in the United States, Ricky actually opened up about the struggles he was experiencing on a website made for survivors of the family. And there, he documented just how bad things really were for him and several others behind the scenes, living with Berg, appropriately titling the post,
further this way, which is
Life with Grandpa.
We got a new
It was apparent that he was haunted by this life that he tried to escape, as the trauma was an everyday cycle of hell, and he just couldn't take it anymore.
Do you know that sometimes the Lord likes to test our faith, to teach us patience, and to really make us pray? This is just what happened to me once.
This is Route 5. Did I not catch a new Pokemon? Am I crazy?
Well, hey everyone. I want people to know that,
guys, am I forgetting
even though some of the things that I'm gonna try to do are rather shocking, and,
I'm gonna
maybe
just
not
because I genuinely forgot, I'm gonna let myself
right
catch the first Pokemon. Okay, I'm gonna walk through this grass. If I kill it, I can't catch it. I don't think
to explain some of the reasons.
Yeah, I haven't catch a Pokemon
On January 7th, 2005, Ricky Rodriguez set up a video camera in his apartment and expressed his desire to kill his mother and other leaders of the group for all the dreadful things that they had done not only to him, but to all the other children, with his hope being that this would finally bring down the family once and for all.
Especially before, like, pre-Mega Evolution, like, no offense, she's kind of useless.
You know, then I can go to the next life.
I don't know.
You know that I made a difference.
With Ricky going as far as to show off the various ways that he planned on torturing them.
I'm gonna have to make do. I got my drill here. Got lots of fucking duct tape.
God knows, he hears, he cares. He loves his girls and boys. He gives his very best to those who let him choose the toys.
My God. Yeah,
By this point, David Berg had been dead for years, though the family carried on with his mother, Karen Zerby, assuming full control. This is why she was the primary target. And much like Berg, Karen spent most of her life in hiding, with Ricky being unable to track her down, though he was able to find Angela Smith, one of the nannies responsible for raising him, as well as one of his most prominent abusers, as she was even shown in the story of Davidito assaulting him.
Jesus.
At this point, Ricky was exhausted, and Angela was his last shot at getting intel to help him find his mother and finally carry through on his plans.
My God.
And so he invited her over for dinner.
Has a fucking
under the
anime
guise of
backstory and a
rejoining
half.
I went home that night and tried to wait patiently for the next day. But the Lord still had more lessons that he wanted to teach me.
Bat Devil Space,
This
yeah.
is
You
what
have to make sure they know. Oh my Lord.
Before Ricky could even get the information he was looking for, something in him snapped, and midway through their conversation, Ricky grabbed a knife and stabbed Karen in the arm.
Deserved.
And then slit her throat.
Bitches.
He fled the area that night, driving for hours until he reached California, the place that years before David Berg had started the family. There, he called his ex-wife, professing to everything he did, saying that he did it mainly for his sister Techi, but he felt no better. In fact, he felt worse. And even looking back at the video, it's very obvious that this was something that Ricky didn't truly want to do, and instead he felt like he had to do it, to avenge everyone that the family had hurt.
Honestly, the murder.
I'm not trained. I don't know how to fucking do this. I don't even want to fucking do this. God damn it.
And it was too late to take back what he did, and so he stopped the car in a dark parking lot, sat there for a moment thinking about everything that had happened during his painful life, and ended his suffering once and for all.
No, he should have killed everyone else
These
too.
fuckers have done to us. You know, didn't actually, grab a knife and cut us up, but man,
Jesus.
they sure fucked up our brains. That's the way it was at Grandpa and Mama's house. Literally or figuratively, they're going down. So, with that happy thought, I shall leave you.
Oh yeah, Flurp's dead. Sorry, I should be reviving corpses. Let me go put away. Let me throw away the trash.
Ricky Rodriguez's death was devastating for the community of survivors of the family, and it caused shockwaves all throughout the family itself, as his final video was plastered all over the news. And though it didn't happen in the way he expected it or wanted it to, Ricky's life and death undoubtedly contributed to the decline of the family, and helped diminish the cycle of abuse within the group. Starting from the story of Davidito, the public pressure forced Berg to outlaw the
Yeah,
widespread
driving
abuse
a
that he
rotting
once
rubbish
preached.
corpse.
And though it is
Yeah,
believed
maybe
that
I
it
should,
never really came to an end,
nope.
it was at the very least significantly reduced. And by the time the news began to cover Ricky's death, it proved to be the final wake-up call for many still within the
Rest
group,
in peace, Flair.
as they finally began to see through the facade that had once controlled their
Finally had a
lives.
Like Grandpa said,
full team.
prayer is powerful.
We had a
when
full
we
team, but
pray,
goodbye.
things will happen and things will
Full
be
team plus a
different.
corpse, I guess.
It's difficult to watch any of
What
Life
moves
with
did
Grandpa,
Double Tap
knowing its
Track
history,
Super Power?
its
What's its
purpose, and the real
stats?
people that it was inspired by. Though as soon as the media began taking notice of the cult, many members were made to purge the media
Good
that was sent to
defense.
them that may be considered
Amazing
incriminating.
special
And as a
defense.
result, it appears that most of Life with Grandpa is missing
it's
to this
like a
day,
good,
and potentially destroyed forever.
A good just
Currently,
literal-
only
I
4
mean,
episodes have been
well,
recovered.
I mean, it's
and
in
it's not
its
even
name,
known
so
how
it'll
many
be a
more
good,
were
like,
released,
damage
or even
absorber.
what year the show started or ended. But considering how closely the show mirrored the book, it's possible that these potentially missing and destroyed episodes are much worse than the ones we have today.
I can't lie.
But despite not knowing the full extent of the show,
I'm looking
it's
at
clear
the
that Life with
stats
Grandpa and the
for
countless
the
other
mini,
programs that the family made
like the
did
moves,
exactly
I'm
what they
sure
wanted
that
them to.
mini,
They brainwashed an entire generation of the
mini,
cult's children, and the effects were devastating.
The thing we have got.
But they become extremely agitated when we ask them about Moses David Berg's teachings on sex.
My Little Fish. Now, your father described that as a routine publication.
They're not having sex, they're just kissing and hugging in bed. That's not sex. If you show it to other people, they don't understand. That stuff's not supposed to be publicized. So many people think sex is wrong. So many people hate us. But we just telling them the truth. We're just telling them it's not wrong. We're just telling them that there's nothing wrong with it. And here come these publicizers doing them to everybody.
Between the strange content from the program itself, its obvious attempts at indoctrinating kids into a cult that was only ever going to harm them, the real-life people behind the characters, and the fact that this propaganda was so effective, I have no doubt that Life with Grandpa is the darkest children's show that I've ever come across. Though, shockingly, there's somehow one more layer to the story that makes this program even more disturbing.
Really?
And now,
Peter
here's
Puppet.
the exciting ending to this story.
One thing that we haven't discussed yet is who was actually the one behind the creation of the show. There's no doubt that it's David Berg's stories and was probably done at his request, but who was the one actually making it? Well, unfortunately, most of the people who worked on the show have their identities hidden by only using their first names, or even using straight-up aliases, so I could hardly find any information on any of them, with the exception of one. Peter Puppet.
Oh, God.
Peter Puppet was sort of a celebrity within the group, being responsible for numerous puppet shows, including one
boy.
called The Lovettes, which was actually far more popular than Life with Grandpa, and was even supposedly broadcast on TV in the Philippines, with the show being a disturbing rabbit hole in its own right.
Would you like to hear a story? Well, then let's go see Grandpa in the garden.
Hello, children. So nice of you to visit us
Hi,
in
Peter.
the
Oh,
garden
your boy,
today.
right?
But Peter
So now
Puppet
you
owned this
can't see shit.
group
I'm a
and was
girl.
in charge of the
Tee-hee.
Lovettes team,
Oops.
and
My colleague's
coincidentally,
calling
the
me. I have to
Lovettes
get
just
back
so
to
happened
work.
to be credited
Goodbye.
as the producers of
Thank
Life
you.
with Grandpa. So
Goodbye.
Peter Puppet was, at the very least, one of the contributing creators of the show. And he also seems to be the one in charge of performing the actual musical numbers on the show, as they featured puppets that belonged to Peter and the Lovettes team, with these segments interestingly being credited to an unknown man named Peter Pioneer.
We have a
So when's your second channel, Peter Puppet?
It's not a concrete link, but it's clear that Peter Puppet had a role in
You know,
the
it's funny. I
show's
actually had
creation
a
and helped
early
push
on
the
the Peter
family's
Show days
disturbed
that I would play
ideology
with
onto
puppets.
hundreds of
So
kids
this is
across
kinda
the
bad,
globe.
huh?
But during the creation of Life with
Bad
Grandpa,
look.
it seems his own beliefs were being tested.
Headbutt.
In the beginning of the video, we saw an
Wake up,
example of the
slap.
family's view on doctors.
Surely a doctor would have stitched it, but our God is still a God of miracles. Praise the Lord.
Bam.
This sentiment was really
Praise
common
the
in the family,
Lord.
as Berg outright forbade any medicine or surgeries of any
Of
kind,
course, shocker.
instead preaching that miracles from God were the only way to heal. And because of this, many members of the family with chronic ailments or fatal illnesses were basically left to die. And one of those left suffering
As
was
bad as that
Peter
robot.
Puppet.
Grandma, totally. Actually,
His
would you
life
make
is
a
almost
raw
entirely a
porn
mystery,
with,
as he lived in hiding
my-
in one of the family's compounds.
my,
But according to some of the
puppets.
group's members, one day he noticed something in his neck, a small lump. And over the next few weeks and months, it began to slowly get bigger and bigger, to the
Oh,
point that
man.
Peter had to go visit a doctor in
Oh,
order to see
Peter.
what was wrong. And it was there he learned that inside of him was an aggressive tumor that was only going to get larger. The good news was the
Aw,
tumor was
poor
actually
guy.
operable and could be removed with little risk to his life.
Not
But
really
the bad
good
news
news, come on,
was
scratch that.
surgeries were against the family's beliefs.
Oh, thank
and
God.
so he turned it down, instead opting to go back to the compound to pray the tumor away with the other members.
Pray it
This,
away.
however, never happened. Instead, the mass began to
Really?
grow at an even faster rate, to
Are
the
you-
point
are
that
you
those
sure?
around him could notice it, eventually leading to Peter hiding away in his room, away from the others, not wanting to be
you
seen.
got
However,
this.
at some point during a
Doop-a-loop.
struggle, a photograph was taken,
Doop-a-boop.
showing the entire
Doop-a-doop.
compound he was living with.
Fire punch. Aw.
And in the background, we see
No.
Peter, whose neck is impossibly large.
Jesus.
From here, it said that Peter began to beg the family
Hey,
to take
guys,
him
I
for
don't think-
surgery, as the tumor was
Guys, I don't
quite
think the
literally
prayer's
suffocating him
working
slowly,
anymore.
turning him against the very beliefs that he once
Doop-a-doop.
forced upon so many children over the years. But the family forbade it, insisting that he wait for a miracle that was never going to come. With nowhere else to
You wait
turn,
for a
Peter
miracle?
Puppet supposedly ended his own life shortly after this
Okay.
photograph was taken,
If you
adding
say
the final
so.
pillar of context to Life with Grandpa. A program that can only be described
Where you put all that neck
as the
down
darkest
my
children's
stomach
show
now, bro.
ever created.
We've got to go now. Let's wave bye-bye, kids. God
Oh,
bless you.
no.
Come on, say bye-bye.
Say bye-bye. Oh no, is the elevator? Oh man, man. They're keeping me stuck.
For many a year, driven by hunger and filled with fear, I must arise
Yes,
and
strength.
go backward through time.
David Berg died natural causes at 75. I would have hoped it was sooner.
My heavenly Father's face, willing to take but a servant's place.
Jesus Christ, what is this music?
And
Imagine you get copyright strike by these guys. That'd be really funny.
back to my
Costa Rica. Jeez.
I could arise and go.
Fake out? Don't you fake me out. Man. Shit. Switching out. I don't want. Fat. I want to see you fight.
Why should I perish?
Wedding public photography since 2010 is crazy.
Here where there's no one to help
Techie
or care, where there is shelter
with the family. Is the family still around?
I will arise.
Like, is it still like a thing?
Deeply repenting, these wrongs I know.
Double slap.
Worthy no more to be called his son.
I could do a little better than that. Shit, never mind, no I can't. Disturbing ass fucking photos. The editing is so annoying. Torment? What torment? Secret power, I guess. Pursuit. Man, fuck you. Secret power. Double slap.
I see.
The wife lead is now apparently Handmaid's TikTok challenge. Oh my gosh, why can't I? Pursuit? Huh. Well, my fat's gonna use secret power. I don't even know what. Oh shit, maybe I gotta. Damn you, Torment. I'm gonna slap you away now. Beach. Beach. Hit more than twice. Every time another one uses it, they get 5 times. This is bullshit. Oh my lord. 3 times. Why can't I do anything? Double slap. No! Fat! You're being scratched. Oh yeah. Doop-a-doop leveled up. Thanks, Fat. I love both kinds of Pokemon. I don't like losing. Yeah, I'm sure. Jeez, that was a disturbing. That was a good video. That was a really good one. What?
These are some of the most disturbing films ever made in the form of an iceberg. We'll start with the more controversial and strange and
Nah, I don't want to hear about that, actually. Actually, no. Yes, I do. I lied. I do want to hear about it.
These are some of the most disturbing films ever made in the form of an iceberg. We'll start with the more controversial and strange and gradually move on to the truly traumatizing and illegal. I made this iceberg myself and I think I'm scarred for life. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg. At its core, the human centipede presents an idea unlike anything seen before in horror, and for very good reason. The story follows Dr. Heiter, an incredibly intelligent but twisted surgeon living in isolation in the German countryside. The doctor has an obsession that is as grotesque as it is unique. His life work has nothing to do with saving lives. Instead, it's about fusing them together. He dreams of creating a human centipede.
Why does he want to do that?
Lies in the specifics of his idea. Dr. Heiter kidnaps 3 individuals and surgically connects them front to bottom, forcing them to crawl on all fours. What makes it even more disturbing is the plausibility of the idea. Director Tom Six, who came up with the story, claimed he consulted with medical professionals to ensure the procedure could technically work and people could actually live like this. There are 2 other human centipede films, with each one of them being even more extreme than the last, with more death, gore, and a longer centipede. Human Centipede
No way
2
that's
was
real.
so extreme
No way
that for
that's
a time
real.
it was outright banned from the UK and Australia. There was
No
later
way
released
that's
with
real.
certain
That they have like a that long of
the
a line
Censored
of
11 are a group
centipede.
of cartoons created by the
That's
Warner
kinda
Brothers
badass,
during
I
what's
can't even
known
lie.
as the golden age of animation. This was a time when studios like Warner Brothers, Disney, and MGM were creating some of the most beloved animated classics.
That's
but not all
racist.
their work was made to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
In fact, these cartoons were so controversial that Warner Brothers made the decision to pull them from circulation in 1968, and they haven't been officially released since. Why were these cartoons censored? The answer lies in their content. Unlike the whimsical adventures of Bugs Bunny
I don't
or the
like-
stupid antics
I
of
don't
Daffy
like
Duck,
the
Censored 11
side of
features
YouTube I'm
extremely
on right
offensive
now.
stereotypes and caricatures of African Americans. One infamous example is the cartoon Coal Black and the 7 Dwarfs. While praised at the time for its fast-paced animation and jazz-influenced soundtrack, its content is more than shocking by today's standards. Black characters were often shown as lazy, foolish, or subservient, playing into harmful tropes that were more common in the 1930s and 40s. In some cases, the cartoons were particularly inspired by minstrel shows. The humor obviously wasn't clever or sophisticated, it was simply mean-spirited and degrading. Set in Sheffield in northern England, Threads follows the story of 2 families, the Kemps and the Becketts. At its heart are Ruth
Let's
Beckett
go to the
and
gym
Jimmy
and see how
Kemp,
strong
a young
the,
couple with
pre-gym
a
guys
life-changing
are.
decision ahead of them. Ruth is pregnant and the 2 plan to marry. Meanwhile, the United States and Soviet Union are on the brink of war after the Soviet Union invades northern Iran. But for most people in Sheffield, these events feel
This
like a
is the
world
gym, this is
away.
the,
But that all changes when diplomacy fails. Tensions escalate into an all-out nuclear war, and Sheffield becomes one of the targets. When the attack comes, it's sudden, brutal, and utterly unrelenting.
Whoa,
A flash of
hello.
light, and
Dang.
everything familiar is wiped
Surprised,
out
right?
in an
This gym's,
instant. Buildings crumble,
stage.
fires spread uncontrollably,
sauce.
and countless lives are lost in a matter of moments. Threads
She's
spares
by-
no details,
she's
showing
cool.
the chaos, fear, and devastating
Oh,
loss
electric
as
cat
survivors
noise. Oh.
struggle to comprehend what just happened. But the
Oh,
real
gosh,
horror
so
lies
please-
in what
oh,
comes
okay,
next.
okay.
The
She
nuclear
doesn't know
attack
that. That's
is
cool.
just the beginning. The film dives deep into the
oh wait,
aftermath.
dude,
The government
perfect. I've been
completely
training the perfect
collapses,
Pokemon for
food
this.
supplies
Hold up.
vanish,
Liberal,
and
get in
medical
here,
care
bro.
is non-existent. A nuclear winter
I've been
plunges
literally
survivors
setting up
into a fight for
this guy
survival against
just for this
starvation,
situation.
disease, and radiation.
Then I guess in Molga,
poisoning.
I can
Ruth
just use my,
survives the attack, but faces an
my
unrecognizable world
rock
as she
move.
struggles to care
So,
for her
hell
newborn
yeah.
child, who is born with extreme mental deficiencies due to being exposed to so much radiation in the womb. One of the reasons Threads was just so controversial was its timing. It premiered on the 23rd of September 1984, during a period where the fear of a nuclear holocaust was at an all-time high in the UK. The
Level
film
27.
portrayed the government's responses as disorganized and
Withdrew.
ineffective, leaving the
Laffy.
average citizen to fend for themselves in an
Magnitude 7
apocalyptic nightmare.
earthquake.
The graphic nature of the film
Oh, come
also
on, that
was
was so
extremely controversial.
Finish it off with
Audiences
a cut.
weren't prepared for the sheer brutality of what Threads
Oh,
depicted.
yeah.
Scenes of people being burned alive alive, dying from radiation sickness, and biting over scraps of food
Liberal
was
for the
so
win,
realistic
baby.
that many viewers reportedly felt
25.
physically ill.
Ella Kid? Huh.
From the moment
that.
Zero Day begins, you're pulled into what feels like
It's
a real
liberal
home
time.
video. There's no slick editing, no dramatic music, and no indication that what you're watching is scripted. It's designed to feel like real found footage. The story follows two high
Magnitude
school
9.
seniors, Andre and Cal,
buddy.
as they
Oh,
document
buddy.
their
No light
everyday
screen's gonna help you
lives.
from a
On the surface, they
magnitude
seem
9
like ordinary
earthquake, bro.
teenagers, cracking jokes, hanging out, and talking about life. But as the
I'll take
camera
on the
keeps
2.
rolling,
I don't know.
a slightly
Honestly,
darker side emerges.
I'm gonna do
In
something a little
April
stupid. I'm gonna go ahead and
1999,
challenge the
real-life
next trainer.
high
I think I
school
can handle her.
seniors,
I think I
being
can
Eric
handle the
and Dylan
final gym leader.
Klebold carried out a meticulously planned
Let's see how this
attack
battle
at their
goes
school,
before I make any big
Columbine
decisions like
High
that,
School.
though.
The event shocked the world.
I am depending on a
leaving
lot of luck, and I
13
don't
dead
want to
and
be.
dozens injured.
I
What
don't want to
stood
be
out
humble and
still
lose
haunts
all my
many
team
were
and
the chilling
have a,
details
especially,
about the attackers
or even
themselves.
worse, have my
Eric
whole
and
run
Dylan
be
had
done.
spent months documenting their plans, recording video diaries that came to be known as the basement tapes. These recordings
gosh, I've
offered
been
a
training
slight
liberal
insight
up.
into their lives and motivations.
Magnitude.
A mix of anger, alienation, and a
Magnitude
disturbing
7.
desire to leave their mark
Pretty
on
good
the world.
earthquake.
Now
Oh, that's a
compare that
really
to
good
Andre and
earthquake,
Cal
bro.
and
Oh my
Zero
lord.
Day. Like Eric and Dylan, they're two
Beautiful.
high school friends.
Drink your
who feel
fresh water,
disconnected
dude.
from the world around
If I
them.
need
They
it,
see
I will,
themselves
but I haven't
as
even taken a single
outsiders,
damage.
smarter
Liberal
than their
already.
peers,
Liberal
and deeply
already.
frustrated with
Wait, yeah,
society.
no, I
As
think
the
I want
film
to.
progresses,
Oh
they
wait,
record
Slash
their
is different
thoughts,
than.
feelings, and preparations in strikingly similar ways to the real-life Columbine shooters. They plan meticulously, even testing their weapons and mapping out all of their attacks.
I'll get
Though
rid
the
of
similarities don't just stop there. Andre and Cal don't act like over-the-top villains or exaggerated stereotypes. They're eerily normal. They don't appear as monsters. They're people you might know. And in the film, much like Eric and Dylan, they go on to destroy their own high school. But where things get more controversial is the timing of Zero Day. Released in 2003, just 4 years after Columbine, the film certainly hit a cultural nerve. By that point, Columbine had become a symbol of a terrifying new era of school violence. Many critics wondered whether it was too soon to create a story so closely resembling the real event, as the film risked glamorizing the shooters by humanizing them. When The Exorcist debuted in theaters in 1973, it wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Based on the best-selling novel by William Peter Blatty, the film tells the story of a young girl named Regan who becomes possessed by a demon, forcing her mother to seek help from 2 Catholic priests. But the reason it's on this list is because what many don't realize is that the horror surrounding The Exorcist didn't end when the camera stopped rolling. In fact, the most unsettling events happened off-screen, haunting the production and those who worked on it. The strangeness began almost immediately after production started. What should have been a normal shoot quickly spiraled into chaos, with a series of bizarre accidents and unexplained incidents that left the cast and crew shaken. The most infamous incident occurred early in production when a fire broke out on set. Overnight, the entire soundstage for the McNeil family home, where most of the film's indoor scenes were shot, was destroyed. The fire forced the crew to halt production for 6 weeks as they rebuilt the set from scratch.
I thought it was the
Strangely,
gym leader
though,
now.
amidst the destruction, one room
Oh,
remained
okay, this is the last
untouched,
one before
Regan's
that gym leader.
bedroom,
Okay,
where
let's see
the
if I'm worthy.
exorcism scenes were to take place.
see how easy
Even
I
the
take this
crew,
through.
hardened by years in the business, found this detail deeply unsettling. William Friedkin, the director, was particularly unnerved. He reportedly brought in a real priest, Father Thomas Birmingham, to bless the set after the fire. The priest walked through the rebuilt soundstage, sprinkling holy water and performing prayers of protection. That wasn't the end of it. Accidents seemed to follow the production wherever it went.
I don't think it's enough for you to take, pal.
Regan's mother, Chris McNeil, suffered a serious back injury
Magnitude's
during a
such a
stunt
cool
gone
move,
wrong.
actually.
In one scene, Regan, under demonic possession,
Ella
throws
Kid?
her mother across the room, and to make the
I guess
stunt
I
look
gotta keep him
realistic, Burston was rigged to a harness and yanked backwards by crew members. But something went wrong, and the force of the pull caused Burston to fall awkwardly, injuring her lower spine. What's even worse is that her real scream of pain was captured on camera and was left in the final cut of
Magnitude
film. Linda
9.
Blair,
Better
who's
get
the
in that
actor for
better.
Regan, wasn't
Better
spared
light
either.
screen
The
next
young
time,
actress
pal.
endured several
Holy shit.
injuries during the physically demanding shoot. In one incident, the mechanical bed used to simulate Regan's violent thrashing malfunctioned,
Honestly,
causing Blair to suffer a permanent back injury.
I'm
But
ready
the
to do
accidents
this.
weren't confined to just the set. Strange and tragic events seemed to follow the cast
Come at
and
me.
crew into their personal lives. One of the
Damn,
worst
she's
incidents
eating.
involved
Holy
Max von
shit,
Sydow, who
baddie.
played Father Merrin, the priest
Whoa.
leading the exorcism in the film. Shortly
Damn, do I deserve to be on the same station? Oh, yeah, I do. My liberal will take you down, ho. Come at me. Hello? Oh my god, literally. Damn. You better try a little harder, Alessa. Oh, starting. Okay, that's actually problematic. I don't know, I should start with Emoga. Okay, well, liberal, you gotta get out of here. Liberal, quick. Swap out. Get Diddy in here.
Megan is the popular one, outgoing,
and the
confident,
2-9
and always the center of attention. Though she has a troubled home life and seeks validation through risky behavior, including meeting strangers online. Amy, on the other hand, is quieter and more reserved, often seen as the innocent one, and likes to record much of their lives on her camera. One night, Megan starts chatting with a boy online named Josh. He seems sweet, caring, and very interested in her. But there's a catch. Josh refuses to show his face on camera, claiming he doesn't have a webcam. Despite this huge red flag, Megan continues talking to him, and their conversations quickly become
okay, well, I guess I'll switch out to liberal.
Still ignoring all the warning signs, decides to meet him in person behind a diner. The next day, Megan is missing. The real horror begins when Amy starts to dig deeper. She records video diaries expressing her sadness over losing Megan and her fear about what might have happened. Though soon, Amy becomes the predator's next target. The film's climax is horrifying and unforgettable. Megan's fate is revealed in a series of photos found on disturbing online forums. The photos show Megan being tortured in a dungeon-like room with metal devices prying open her mouth and her mascara-dyed tears streaming down her face. But it doesn't end there. Amy was trying to find her friend.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Level 30.
The same predator and is then locked in the same dungeon seen in the photos taken by Josh. Josh then assaults her, then informs her that she can leave,
only
but
5?
she
Damn.
enters a large plastic barrel. Upon opening the barrel, Amy discovers Megan's lifeless body inside. Josh then forces Amy into the barrel with Megan, seals it, and subsequently buries her, leaving Amy to suffocate.
You already go first.
Due to the characters being teenagers and the scene of Josh assaulting Amy being 3 minutes long, Megan is Missing was completely banned in New Zealand.
Damn, why am I weak? What is happening?
The house that Jack built follows Jack, a highly intelligent but deeply disturbed
I have a good
man,
defense,
as he
that's okay.
recounts the story of his
Magnitude
life.
9.
This isn't
Yes.
a normal
Finish it.
autobiography. It's
Yes.
a confession.
Yes.
Details
Oh
5
my god.
murders, each more
Oh my god,
horrifying than
yes.
the last.
Liberal
What he
for
describes
the
is twisted
absolute
philosophy
win.
on art,
Emoga,
morality,
it's
and
time.
life itself. He doesn't just kill, he sees each murder as a masterpiece,
the
a work of
flame
art
charge.
that he's compelled to
Please don't
create.
tell
What
me.
makes the house that
Please
Jack
don't.
built so disturbing isn't just the violence
Liberal,
that's
get out of
certainly
there.
part of it. It's
Diddy,
the way that the story is
go.
told. The film is narrated entirely from Jack's perspective. You're not just watching his crimes, you're listening to him justify them, rationalize them, even glorify them.
You can't let your fans down. I can't let my fans down. Pursuit.
Backbone of the film. Each
Too
one
bad.
revealing something new about him,
I'm
like his
not very
meticulous
effective,
planning
pal.
or his
Rock
growing
throw.
obsession with perfection. But they're also designed
Bam.
to shock you in different ways.
I got
the
this.
third incident is
Full
probably
switch?
the most unforgettable
You
moment in
can't
the
switch
film.
with anyone.
Jack invites his romantic partner and her 2 young sons on what seemed like an innocent
Yes.
hunting trip. Jack instructs the boys
Yes.
on hunting techniques.
Oh my
carefully
god, my
explaining the
goated
importance
team.
of ethical
My absolutely
practices,
goated
a
team.
moment of
My
extreme
glorious
irony
kings and
given
queens.
what's to
Liberal,
come.
you
As
are
the
now.
family bonds over the lesson,
you-
Jack's true intentions begin
You've had
to
enough
surface.
leveling
From
up.
a
You
concealed
can take.
position,
You
Jack
can take your.
coldly takes aim at the children
Oh yeah.
and fires at both of them with
Oh,
a rifle,
yeah.
ending their lives
Oh,
instantly. The
yeah.
suddenness of the act is extremely jarring, but it doesn't end there. Jack drags the mother into his fantasy, coercing her into
Oh my
a
gosh, first try.
picnic, as
We don't
Jack
have a
puts it,
second
where
one,
she's
so.
made to pose with the lifeless bodies of her sons. When the film
Jesus.
premiered at Cannes Film Festival in 2018, it
The level
immediately
50,
caused controversy.
Jesus.
During the
Wrong way
screening,
to go.
over 100
Volt
people
switch.
walked out disgusted by the graphic
Volt switch is
violence
pretty
and how
good.
the film
God.
doesn't spare you any of the details in Jack's
Good job, team.
brutality.
Let
Some
me-
attendees openly expressed their outrage, calling it sick and torturous.
Do I want
but
to
while some walked out
make
in
Death
disgust,
strong or
others
fat?
stayed. And
Honestly,
those who endured rewarded the film
I
with a
think these
6-minute
these
standing
two are kind of more
ovation.
just like excess Pokemon
In
right now.
No Child of Mine, Carrie seems like any other 13-year-old. She's a British schoolgirl living
I'm
in
just
a
gonna
modest
flat out
home
take
with her
away the,
parents. But as you could have guessed, beneath the
I'm gonna
surface,
take
things
away.
are far from ordinary. Her life is already turbulent, shaped by constant arguments between her mother, Linda, and her father, Jim. When her parents finally separate, it might seem like a relief, but for Carrie, it's only the beginning. After the separation, Carrie stays with her mother, hoping for some sense of stability. Instead, Linda brings a new boyfriend, Graham, into their home, and it quickly becomes clear that
Give me
he
back your
isn't there to
Chesterberry, pal.
help.
You'll get
Together, Linda and Graham subject Carrie to relentless physical.
I love the music while
Graham
we're
outright
hearing this
beats
terrible
her,
thing.
And her mother also forces her into performing very illegal acts. Carrie can't take it anymore, and desperate for safety, she turns to her father, Jim, believing
hey guys.
he'll give her the refuge
walk
she
with us?
needs.
Sure.
But soon
Peter,
her
so
hope
cool,
is also
stunning.
crushed. Instead of offering her
Bravo,
a safe haven,
Peter,
Jim
woo.
betrays
Oh,
her
yeah.
in the worst way imaginable. Jim seeks to use his daughter for profit
That's
by
what you are.
letting
You
truck
should be able to
drivers
Jim
borrow
backwards.
her
Reach
for a
Pokemon
fee.
League.
Her
Oh, yeah,
teacher,
Will.
Paul,
Oh,
becomes aware of her
you just
struggle
wake early.
and tries to
I'll
place
do
her
a
in
lot more
protective
than that.
care, that the Crown Prosecution Service deems the evidence insufficient
Ew.
and the case is dropped. Carrie is then placed into foster care where she struggles with behavioral issues as she destroys property, eventually getting her removed.
Gross
She's
ass
then moved
cat.
into a care home where the cycle of abuse continues, where a social worker at the
HIV
home
ridden ass
starts
cat.
to
Poor
abuse her too. But finally, out of desperation, Carrie runs away for the final time and discovers a small, peaceful care home in a rural area. Despite initially being mute due to trauma, she gradually begins to trust the staff and shares her story. Although her abusers evade legal consequences, Carrie finally escapes the cycle of abuse. The film concludes by revealing that she pursues a higher education, and the film was based on a completely true story. This film is probably the only one on this iceberg with a slightly more happy ending. Though again, I still don't recommend you watch it, as it's probably the most emotionally draining film you will ever see.
Jesus, sounds like it.
When
huh?
it comes to disturbing films, there are
Concrete.
many that
Isn't that-
push boundaries,
I
but
don't know,
few
I
have
think I've
left
heard something
audiences
about
as shaken as Concrete. It's a Japanese crime drama that isn't just extremely graphic, but there's a horrifying truth behind it. The film
What?
tells the story of a young woman's tragic fate at the hands of a group of teenagers. But to truly
What?
understand why Concrete is so disturbing, you need to know the real-life tragedy it's based on. The
What?
film is essentially a retelling of the horrific 1988 murder of Junko
Oh, I knew it.
Furuta, a
I
case
knew
that
it.
left
Oh,
Japan and the world
oof.
in shock, because it wasn't just the murder, it was a crime
Scary as
so
shit.
cruel, so incomprehensible that it defies explanation.
Christ.
Junko Furuta was a 17-year-old high school student from Misato, a medium-sized town in Japan. She was described as intelligent, kind, and with the dream to become an idol
I'm not gonna be
singer.
able to
But in
sleep
November
tonight.
1988, her life took a devastating turn. She was abducted by 4 teenage boys, one of whom had connections to local organized crime. And what followed was a 44-day ordeal of unimaginable suffering. Held captive in one of the boys' homes, Junko endured relentless abuse. The boys tortured her in ways so brutal that the details remain hard to even comprehend. They beat her, starved her, and burned her with cigarettes, and they forced her
hello,
to
Team
endure
Plasma.
acts of humiliation and
Hey, Chris.
violence
Hey,
that
Team
no one
Plasma.
should ever have to suffer. Even as she begged for mercy, they showed none.
You don't know
What
anything
makes
to
this
me. I
even
can't
more
forgive thieves like
horrifying
you. You're
is
about to
the
feel
role
my
of
rage.
others, the boys' families,
Everything you
neighbors,
strength
and
of
even
your own, run
acquaintances
down
knew
like being
something
messed
was
with.
happening, but did absolutely nothing to stop it.
Peter,
Some
cover
were even
me.
complicit, turning a
No.
blind eye to the
Fine.
very obvious signs of abuse. After weeks of torment, Junko finally succumbed to her injuries. Her body was stuffed into a concrete drum and discarded as if her life had meant nothing. When her remains were discovered months later, the public's outrage was overwhelming. The crime
Yeah,
led
I'd
to
imagine.
massive media coverage about the failings of society and the justice system. Though here's the detail
Where is
that
the
will stick with
justice
you.
when the
Junko
guilty
Furuta's
all go
murderers
free?
received shockingly light
Why don't we
sentences for
lock
their
them up
crimes
and
because they were
throw
minors.
away
They
the key?
avoided harsher penalties, and some were released from prison only after a few years. The injustice of it all added another layer of pain for Junko's family and the public, making this case one of the darkest chapters in Japan's modern history. Concrete
What?
really doesn't shy
Stop
away
dodging
from showing
shit.
you the grim
Not your
details
job.
of Junko Furuta's ordeal.
Your job
The
is to
filmmakers
fucking
chose
die.
to depict the events with an almost disrespectful level of detail, leaving very little to the imagination. A film that starts like any other low-budget horror film, but ends with something so shocking, so unexpected, that it leaves you questioning whether it's even legal to watch. That's the film Snuff in a nutshell. A movie whose ending transformed it from a forgettable exploitation film into one of the most infamous controversies in cinema history.
Another battle to win
Snuff
easy.
follows a group of women caught in a bizarre, violent cult in South America.
stupid.
These women are targeted by a Charles Manson-like figure and his band of devoted followers. The plot dives into the gruesome violence and chaos you'd expect from a 1970s exploitation film, with plenty of over-the-top gore and uncomfortable scenes meant to shock rather than entertain. For much of its runtime, the film doesn't stand out at all.
Switching out immediately. I fucking hate Watch
The
Dogs.
dialogue is clunky,
Why is it so busted?
and the production value
Did he get out here and kill him?
But then there's a twist. Just when you think it's over, the screen flashes back to what appears to be behind-the-scenes footage of the film itself. This new footage
the
seems
move's so busted.
unscripted, raw,
Okay, did he?
and unsettlingly real. In this
Don't
infamous scene,
die.
the camera
I
lingers
do
on a
not
woman being
let you
brutally
die.
murdered
Did he
by the
avoid?
film
Did he
crew.
slap?
Doesn't feel like action.
Fuck
The
yeah.
effects
I
that
hate Watch
are
Dogs.
convincing
I hope
enough
you
to make
die
you
1,000
wonder,
times
am I
over.
actually watching a real murder? The sudden
God.
shift from fiction to supposed reality is
I
what
still
made
was
Snuff
useless.
so unforgettable.
Man, you're
For
useless.
many
I hope you
viewers,
die.
it didn't seem like just a movie anymore. It felt like they had stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to see, and that's exactly what the film
We give up. We lost the two kids. We are searching for something, a secret weapon. When we find it, thanks for telling us your plans, I guess.
Called Slaughter. Like many films of its kind, Slaughter was destined to fade into
5 years
obscurity.
ago.
But then something unexpected happened.
Oh, this
Enter
is sad.
Alan
Hold on.
Shackleton.
They stole my little sister's purloin. It was given to her as a present. So the little kid, I couldn't do anything, so I have to get stronger. I knew you had good instincts till then. Thanks for healing my Pokemon. Yeesh.
A savvy
That's fucked
producer
up.
and distributor.
I'm sure that's the
saw
worst thing that's
opportunity
ever happened
to
in
make the
history.
film
Anyhow,
infamous.
let's go back to hearing about all
Shackleton
these
acquired the rights to
murders,
Slaughter
rapes,
and
and
decided to
whatnot.
give it a makeover, or more accurately, a new ending. He hired a small crew to shoot the separate scene, a grainy, shaky depiction of what appeared to be a real murder happening on the film set. The marketing of the film was as shocking as the title itself. Posters proudly declared it was made in South America, where life is cheap. Shackleton's team leaned into the urban legend of snuff films, underground movies that supposedly feature real murders captured on camera. When the film was released, it quickly caught the attention of the public. Feminist groups, including Women Against Violence Against Women, led protests outside theaters condemning the film's apparent glorification of violence against women. Ironically, their outrage gave the film even more publicity. Shackleton knew exactly what he was doing. The controversy
I
wasn't
wanted to get
a
a
side
picture with a
effect,
girl
it
I
was the
like.
product
Rotation
itself.
battle. No.
We're now moving on to level 3
I mean,
of
yes,
the
I'd
iceberg.
love to hear
a
about
film
it.
so convincing that its
Yes.
director was arrested and put on
time,
trial for
the
murder.
vision,
That's exactly what happened to Ruggero Deodato, the man behind Cannibal Holocaust. Released in 1980,
Charles,
the
why
film
does he always
tells the story
dot,
of a
dot,
group
my
of
name's
young documentary filmmakers who venture deep into the Amazon rainforest to capture footage of the indigenous tribes there. When they fail to return, a rescue team goes to find them and discovers their film reels, revealing the shocking truth of what had happened. The plot might sound
Interesting. I didn't
straightforward,
know
but
rotation
Cannibal
battles were a thing.
Holocaust is anything but. The movie is presented in a found footage style.
I do have
where
3
much of the
goats,
story
and
is
all 3
told
goats
through
are out in the
recovered
battlefield.
tapes. This
Ouch.
format, rarely seen at the time,
First,
made it feel like
take
an
a
authentic
slash.
documentary instead of a scripted film. As viewers left theaters wondering
Don't
if they
care.
had just seen actual events unfold on screen. But it wasn't
Agility.
just the raw style alone that fooled people, it was the extreme lengths the filmmakers went for authenticity. Deodato pushed his cast and crew to act as if they truly had vanished. To keep the illusion alive, the actors signed contracts agreeing to stay out of the public eye for an entire year after the film's release. No interviews, no public appearances, nothing. To the world,
Wait, what?
they
How do I-
disappeared without
okay,
a trace.
I know that.
The group
Wait,
of
how do I
young
switch them out?
filmmakers had been brutally tortured and murdered by the uncontacted and barbaric tribe. One of the most controversial aspects of Cannibal
Wake up,
Holocaust
Slash.
was its use of real violence. Yes, the human deaths were staged, but
Slash.
the same can't be said for the animals.
Fuck.
In multiple scenes, real animals were killed on camera, not with special effects, but with actual brutality. Perhaps the most infamous example is the scene where a giant turtle is killed by the characters in a lengthy, graphic, and disturbing scene. Crew members later admitted that filming the scene was deeply uncomfortable for everybody involved, but the director insisted it was necessary to create a sense of raw authenticity. But it wasn't just the animals, even the actors were subjected to extreme conditions for the sake of realism.
Oh yeah,
in one
air
scene,
cutter
a
all you
woman's
want,
body is
pal.
impaled on a wooden stake, creating one of the film's
Never
most
air
iconic
cutter again,
images.
never air
While it was
cutter
a
again,
special
oh my
effect,
god.
the setup was so
Almost
convincing that it
died?
left audiences horrified. The actress had to sit on a bicycle
I can only
seat
fight
hidden
with
behind her
liberal,
with a
dude.
piece of wood in her mouth to make it look like it was piercing through her entire body. Then
Cut.
the unthinkable happened. Authorities in Italy, where the film premiered, launched an
Side beam.
investigation. The
How do
violence
you
and cannibal
outspeed?
holocaust looked so real
Okay,
that
it's
they
not that bad, it's
suspected
okay.
Diodato had orchestrated
What the
actual
fuck?
murders.
What the
The
fuck?
media
What the
exploded
fuck?
with rumors
What the
that
fuck?
the movie was a
No!
snuff film. The reason why I told you the detail of the actress sitting on the bicycle seat is because Diodato had to
Cut.
show how that stunt was done in court, as it just looked so convincing on screen to both
Magnitude.
the police and general audiences.
Shit,
In
this one's
hindsight,
floating,
one of
isn't
the
it?
most funny moments of the
Oh, air
trial
cutter,
was when
no.
the director had to bring his
No!
actors into
Why
the
does it keep getting
courtroom
criticals?
alive and well to prove they hadn't actually been killed. After its release, over 50 countries outright banned the film, making it one of the most controversial in history.
Hyper potion.
When the Twilight Zone film was announced in the early 1980s, it promised to be a groundbreaking project. It was a chance to bring one of the most iconic, imaginative television programs to
Aquajet,
the
waves
big
in water,
screen.
super
Fans
effective.
of the original show, which explored eerie,
Oh, it's super
thought-provoking,
effective,
and
but it
sometimes
also didn't
downright
do that much
terrifying
damage.
stories, with
So
thrill.
I guess
John
I have
Landis,
to.
hired on to be a director,
I'm gonna
was
do slash
also
just in case
extremely
it switches.
excited. With the Twilight Zone
Nope.
film, Landis wanted to
I
prove that
wouldn't.
he could do something even bigger and bolder, as he was making
Ancient
something
power.
unforgettable, though certainly not in the way he thought he would. Landis was given the chance to direct one of the
Macros?
film's
God
4
damn it.
segments, titled Time
All
Out.
of
This
his
segment told the
stats?
story of Bill Connor, a bitter and racist
Magnitude.
man who, after
Don't
a
switch.
drunken tirade in a bar, finds himself trapped in a nightmarish series of time jumps. Each
I hate
jump
this game.
places him in the shoes of someone who has experienced the oppression he so casually dismissed.
What?
First, he's a Jewish man fleeing
Death?
from the Germans during World War II. Then he's a black man about to be lynched by the Ku Klux Klan in the American South.
Ku
And then
Klux
finally,
Klan?
he's a Vietnamese man hunted by US soldiers during the Vietnam War. The story was meant to show Bill the
Heel
pain
Diddy.
and fear his own racism had caused others in history. For the climax of the segment,
I
Landis
should kill that
envisioned a
Dooba Doop
dramatic
guy.
redemption arc. Bill would rescue 2 Vietnamese children from a war-torn village, risking his
Oh my
life to
God.
save them as explosions and gunfire erupted around them. The scene was meant to show Bill's transformation, a man who had learned the value of compassion through the
Nope,
horrors
not
he had
that
endured.
one.
But this ambitious sequence required a level of complexity rarely attempted at the time. It
Rock
involved
throw.
massive pyrotechnics, a helicopter
on.
hovering dangerously close to the
Come on,
action,
don't
and most
switch.
controversially,
Try
2
beam,
child
okay.
actors playing the roles of the Vietnamese children.
That's
Landis' vision was
okay.
bold,
It's
but his
okay.
approach to achieving
Are
it
you
was proved
fucking kidding me?
dangerously reckless. On the 23rd of July, 1982, the pyrotechnics were ready, the helicopter was in position, and the actors were in place. The 2 child actors, Mika Din Lei, who was 7, and Renee
This is
Shin
so-
Chen,
why
who
is
was
this
6,
actually-
were hired despite numerous violations of California
Awkward.
child labor laws.
Come
Not
on, you have
only
a
were
big,
they working
bulky
outside of legally
staff, you're
permitted
okay.
hours, but
Okay,
there were no
perfect.
permits to authorize their involvement in a scene involving explosives and helicopters. These decisions were made under the radar, with Landis and the production team disregarding the legal requirements to avoid any delays.
Fucking
When filming
Diddy,
began,
dude.
actor Vic Morrow, who's playing Bill in the film, hoisted the children in his arms and waded into the water
cutter,
as
I don't
instructed.
care.
The helicopter, piloted by a seasoned Vietnam War
Fucking
veteran,
fat's
hovered
gonna
about
sit
25
here
feet
and take it
above them.
while I
Landis
heal
had
my
insisted that the
Pokemon I care
helicopter
about.
fly lower so that he could get the perfect shot.
Oh
As
my
the
god,
cameras
thank you,
rolled,
Fat.
everything
Dude, I'm
seemed
gonna
to
give
be
Fat
going
some levels.
according to
Fat's so
plan.
good for the
But then
situation, I didn't even
disaster
think about
struck. One
how
of the
useful it is
large
just to have someone who could take
pyrotechnic
hits.
explosions detonated
Oh my
too
god, why
close
did
to
I
the
not
helicopter,
think of
destroying
that?
its tail and causing the pilot to
Fat,
lose
my
control
glorious
as
queen,
the rotor
forgive
blades
me.
sliced through the air erratically. It mere seconds,
Secret
it crashed
power. Fuck
directly
you.
into the river where
Fuck you,
Morrow
take some
and the
secret
children
power,
were
how about that,
standing. The
bitch?
rotor blade struck Morrow and Micah before crashing into Renee.
Critical
All
hit, though,
three
and
of
you're
them would
paralyzed,
lose their
asshole.
lives. Many
Fuck
on
you.
set believed it was
So
the
mad.
direct result
Please don't
of
die.
Landis's insistence on pushing the limits. His demands for
Okay.
bigger explosions,
This
lower
has
helicopter
definitely been a
passes, and tighter shots
bit
had
of a-
overwritten safety protocols and was very likely the cause of their deaths. A Serbian
care what-
film starts
Oh,
with
yeah,
Milos,
I
a
knew
retired
you were gonna do
adult
that,
film
bitch.
star living a
I knew
quiet
you were
life
gonna
with
do
his
that,
wife
bitch.
Maria and their young
I
son
knew
Petar. His
you was
career is
gonna do
behind
that.
him, but the family is
Why the
struggling
fuck does it avoid
financially.
every
But then
attack?
comes an offer that seems almost too good to be true. A former co-star, Layla, introduces Milos to Vukmir, a wealthy and mysterious filmmaker. Vukmir offers him a starring role in what he calls an art film, promising a huge paycheck enough to secure his family's future. There's just one catch though. Vukmir refuses to tell Milos what the film is actually about. At first, Milos is hesitant, and who wouldn't be? But the thought of providing a better life for his family convinces him
I
to
have the
accept
secret
the
power,
deal.
I have to
He trusts that
sacrifice.
whatever the project is, it can't be too far
Please.
outside his past experience.
Please,
After
no.
all, he's worked in a
Please somehow
controversial
live, please
industry
somehow live,
before,
please
and
somehow
how
live,
bad
please
can it
somehow
really
live.
get? Things start off strange, but just about manageable for our main character. Milos is sent to a dark room where an actress performs a special act on him. Though taken by surprise, he looks up and sees a little girl watching the whole thing take place. This obviously disturbs
Crush
Milos,
claw.
but then
Crush
Vukmir
claw.
invites him to watch one of
Hit
his
it.
earlier
Hit
recordings,
it.
and what
Air
he
cutter, you can
sees
live
is
through an
beyond
air cutter.
anything he could
Fucking
have
hit
ever
it.
imagined.
Finally,
The graphic
someone
scene of a
kill
newborn
this
baby
stupid
being
son of a
born
bitch.
moments after
This has been the
birth.
most
Vukmir
bullshit
refers to
long
this
battle
as
of my
newborn,
life.
a term that leaves Milos horrified and sickened. He tries to quit right there and then, but Vukmir doesn't take no for an answer. Instead, he
Fat's
has Milos
dead.
drugged
Fat's
with a substance
dead.
that clouds his
Fat
judgment
is
and leads him
dead.
basically to become
Magnitude, I
Vukmir's
don't care.
plaything. Under the
Aquajet,
influence,
wait, no.
Milos is no
No, no,
longer
no, no, no,
himself.
no,
He's
no, no,
manipulated
no,
into
no,
committing
no.
unspeakable acts on camera, acts that he would never agree to if he were in control of his mind. It's not until Milos wakes up days later, confused and with no memory of what happened, that he begins to piece together the horrifying truth. He finds and watches the footage of what he was made to do, but he realizes that on camera, he had been forced to violate not just strangers, but people he deeply cared about, his own wife and son. The revelation destroys him, leading Milos out of grief and not being able to live with himself any longer, to not only end his time
Oh
on
my
Earth, but the lives
God.
of both Petar and Maria too. The final scene
Wake
delivers
up,
one
Slap.
last blow to the
No.
viewer. The scene begins with the camera lingering over the lifeless bodies of Milos and his family as they lie together in bed. Then the silence is broken.
Doop-a-doop, I had
Enter
so
the
much
room.
potential
Their
for
demeanor is cold
you.
and businesslike.
Oh
These
my
men, it's implied, are
God.
part of Vukmir's
Oh
production team,
my
and they are there to warn the
God.
family. With one of the men unzipping their trousers, an instruction is
I
then
fucking
heard.
hate you,
Start with
Charles,
the
you
little one.
fucking
The meaning
asshole.
is
You're the
painfully
worst.
clear,
I
as
hope you
Petar,
die
the
in a-
youngest and most innocent, will now become the main prop of whatever horrific production comes next. In 2011, at the Sitges Film Festival in Spain,
I hope
Ahmed
you
Salah, the
genuinely
director of the
crash.
festival, faced criminal charges after choosing to
great,
screen
Charles,
a Serbian
too.
film. Authorities
Wow.
accused Salah of exhibiting child porn simply because of the film's highly graphic and controversial scenes. For a time, it looked as though Salah might actually face serious consequences for his decision to show off the film. However, after further investigation, the charges were dropped and Salah avoided any legal
Are you-
penalties. The
are you
controversy
serious?
didn't stop there, though.
You
During
want a
the
battle
premiere in
now.
Munich, Spasojevic, the film's director and one of the film's producers, found themselves in very hot water. Following complaints from audience members about the film's explicit and violent content, the pair was detained by local authorities.
Yeah.
And the complaints were serious, as some viewers really believed that several heads had been cut off during the making of the film. Spasojevic and the producer were arrested and questioned, although they were later released without facing formal charges. Philosophy of a Knife isn't your typical film. It doesn't follow a hero, a villain, or even a clear plot. Instead, it drags you into one of the darkest chapters of human history and doesn't let you go for over 4 hours. The film is based on the horrifying real-life experiments conducted by Unit 731, a secret Japanese biological warfare unit during World War II. This group carried out literally unthinkable acts of cruelty, using humans as test subjects for diseases, frostbite, and even live dissections. These events alone are enough to make anyone uncomfortable, but the director doesn't stop there. He mixes the historical facts of the tragedy
We have
with
had a
more
lot of losses
fictionalized
today.
horror. The entire film is shot in black and white,
Ironically,
giving it the eerie
after we
appearance
beat
of a
the
lost
gym.
documentary. It's intercut with archival footage from World War II, making it seem all the more real. And these scenes of torture don't cut away or soften the blow. They are long, detailed, and brutally explicit. You'll have to witness horrifying experiments like their live dissections. And in the film, there's also scenes of forced infections, amputations, and other acts of human experimentation that are portrayed with a chilling sense of realism. The pacing of the film is another thing that makes it unbearable. Scenes drag on for minutes, often long past the point where most...
Charles was the gym leader all along, I guess, yeah. That's it. I hate that Pokemon. I'm almost so mad I can hit something. I'm never that mad. I never get that riled up. That stupid fucking Sisyphus or whatever wouldn't die. I hit it over and over, and it would just dodge and dodge. That's my least favorite Pokemon. It's not even a cool one. It looks retarded. And now look. I'm carrying the corpses. Oh my god, I'm carrying the corpses of my liberal Sandslash that I just got. I just got it. I really liked it too. He was like one of my favorites. I just got him. The magnitude he carried me through the gym, and he's helped me so much, and now he's dead. And now my oh, I might actually cry, dude. I'm actually really emotional right now. My Darumaka, I really wanted it to be strong and do stuff for me in the future. Why'd I send it out against Tortuga? I wasn't thinking straight because I was so infuriated. I just wanted the battle over with. No. Oh my god. Now, Doop-da-Doop. Doop-a-Doop is dead. And to make it all better, I love Doop-a-Doop. Doop-a-Doop was my favorite Pokemon yet. And Fatty, we just got you, and we were really excited to train you and make you strong, but you died protecting the team. You tried your best. You were stronger than I gave you credit for, and I'm sorry. This cheery ass music. We have two Pokemon. Diddy and Death. I'm hoping we hit a new... I can't breathe. I'm hoping we hit a new, Why is my voice all fucked up? I'm hoping we hit a new... What the hell is going... Dude, what is happening? What the fuck? I hope we hit a new... route so I can catch a new Pokemon. What's this? Why did we fight all that to get where? Drawbridge. Okay. Sure, I guess. Let me go ahead and give fucking... I'm genuinely like so shocked that they all died. That's fucking crazy. Where'd I put it? Yeah, the choice on Diddy's sidekick was decided. Kind of by force. Diddy, I don't think Diddy wanted them dead. Diddy loved all of his team a lot.
Away. And obviously,
Diddy's
this
devastated.
It's a deliberate choice by the director to make you feel the weight of time and suffering. Whether it's a prolonged shot of a victim's face contorted in pain, or the slow, agonizing depiction of an experiment, these moments are designed to test your endurance, and it's if the film is asking you, how much can you take?
I'm mad at it right now.
Salo begins with 4 powerful men, referred to as the Duke, the Bishop, the Magistrate, and the President. These men represent
all his
absolute political and social power. Together, they plan to act out their most twisted desires. And to do this, they kidnap a group of teenage boys and girls and take them to a remote villa. And this villa becomes their own cruel world, where they can control everything. The victims are trapped with no chance to escape, and the men waste no time forcing them into submission. The film is divided into 3 chapters, or
I've learned the hard way. Stealing is
inspired
wrong.
by
Keep
Dante's
going. Come
Inferno.
on.
Each circle represents a step
Call you
deeper
villain
into
plotting
hell
what?
as the abuse becomes worse
who
and
is this
worse.
guy?
The first chapter,
X-Team
Circle of
Plasma.
Manias, sets
And
the stage for the twisted
he
routine
disappeared.
in the villa. 4 older women, called the Storytellers, are brought in to share their own
Back off.
disturbing experiences.
Damn.
They tell graphic, unsettling stories about their past,
You're
which
not getting
inspire
away.
the
Oh, damn,
captors
Chris
to
is
create
on
new
their ass.
ways to torment
Okay,
their
their
victims.
friends are
The
both in
victims are then
2000.
forced to perform
Lord Andrew
humiliating
Johnson
and
said
degrading
Pokemon with the
acts, while the
functions.
powerful men watch
Jitsus,
and
take
sometimes
over the
join
world, you
in,
can
and
hear.
at no point do the men
They
show
are
any
home.
empathy, only
Zombies
amusement
will
at
kill
the
next
suffering they cause. The second chapter,
Great.
The Circle of
The next
Excrement,
one.
takes the abuse
Oh,
to a
boy.
new, disgusting level. In this part, the captors force the victims to eat human waste, and this act is obviously meant to completely destroy their dignity and humanity. What makes this circle even harder to watch is how casual it all seems to the captors. As the storytellers continue their grim tales, the captors laugh and joke, acting as though nothing is out of the ordinary.
Damn.
The final chapter, The Circle
I'm
of Blood, is
devastated,
by
dude.
far the most brutal, as the men's cruelty reaches its peak as they torture and kill their victims in horrifying ways. And they treat the violence like a performance, merely for their entertainment. By the time the film ends, there is no hope, no rescue, and no sense of justice. The villa is a world of pure
Where is
evil,
the
controlled by men who
justice
see
when the
others as
guilty all
nothing
go
more than
free?
objects. Countries
Why
like
don't we
Italy,
lock them
Australia,
up and
New
throw
Zealand, and
away the
Norway banned the
key?
film outright, labeling it as obscene and dangerous. Even in places where it was allowed to screen, it often came with heavy cuts or was relegated to more underground theaters. The graphic depictions of violence, abuse, and dehumanization were deemed too extreme for general audiences, and many governments saw the film as
Back
a
to
moral
2, huh?
threat. Ironically,
feel like
Salo would become the
we've
director
just stayed
Pierre
at 2
Pasolini's
Pokemon
final work.
too
Just weeks
often.
before the film's release in 1975, Pasolini was brutally assassinated under very mysterious circumstances. His death added another layer of intrigue and controversy to the already notorious film. Some even speculated that his murder was connected to Salo, though no solid
Yes, it's
evidence
me.
ever emerged, and the case
Mr.
is still
My
unsolved
colleague's calling me. I have
until
to get back
this
to
day.
work. Talk to you again. Goodbye.
August
Bye.
Underground is not your typical horror film. Released in 2001 and directed by Fred
Who are
Vogel,
you?
it belongs to a
Trainer?
subgenre of extreme horror that pushes every boundary imaginable. But calling it a horror film might not even be accurate. Instead, it
XT
plays
plus
out
shift,
like a
the person I was
chaotic
talking about.
montage of brutal
Hello.
acts, as it's a raw
Timey
and
N.
horrifying look
Oh,
into the
you're
lives
pushing
of
two
two
plasma
serial
active.
killers, filmed as if
You
the
might be able to
audience
understand
had
us.
just stumbled
I
upon
guess.
their
You're the
personal
common side, what kind of
collection
person
of
you are.
violent crimes.
In a Pokemon
The film
battle.
doesn't
Sure.
follow a traditional storyline. There's no beginning, middle, or end. Just scene after scene of unimaginable
I
violence.
hope I can win.
And unlike most films,
I only
there's
have 2
no
Pokemon as well.
explanation for why the killers are doing what they do. The film was made on a
Did
shoestring
he?
budget, and instead of using polished effects or professional actors,
Killed him.
Vogel intentionally kept everything raw.
I wish I could make my
unpolished.
Pokemon stronger
His
by
unfiltered
trading it, but I
style
can't
was
trade.
so convincing and horrifying that when the film was first released, some believed it was a genuine snuff film. In 2005, Fred Vogel, the director, found himself in serious trouble with Canadian authorities. While traveling to the Rue
Yay.
Morgue Festival of Fear in Toronto, Vogel
One
brought
shot.
copies of his films, including August Underground and
That
its
needs to
sequel
level
that
up
includes
quite a bit,
basically the
so,
same things, to
Too
sell at the
bad.
event. But when Canadian
Perfect.
customs officers inspected his luggage, they were alarmed by the film's content. The sheer realism of the films
Rock throw.
immediately made the authorities suspect Vogel of attempting to smuggle obscene materials into the country, a serious offense under Canadian law. As a result, he was detained at the border for nearly 10 hours while officials decided how to handle the situation.
Youch.
Eventually, the charges
Oh
against
my
him were dropped,
lord.
but the ordeal wasn't
This
over.
game wants
Canadian
Diddy
officials
fucking
sent the
dead.
confiscated copies of the film to Ottawa for further examination, treating them as potential evidence of obscenity. Though Vogel was ultimately allowed to continue his trip, it just showed how polarizing August Underground
Jesus.
was and still is.
Apologize for
We are now
pressing
on
you.
level 4 of the iceberg. Mai-chan's
Got
daily
away,
life
and that
follows a
is
young
if
woman
Frankie may
named
join us.
Miyako who secures a live-in maid
Okay.
position at a secluded mansion. At first, everything appears normal. Polished floors, pristine French maid outfits, and the promise of a stable life away from the chaos of the outside world. But as Miyako begins her work, she quickly realizes there's nothing ordinary about this place or the people who live there. The other maids, like Miyako, are there to serve, but their roles extend far beyond cleaning or taking orders. They are subjected to their employers' perverse and violent fantasies, forced into acts of submission and degradation far worse than Miyako could have ever imagined. Among the 3 maids, one stands out, Mai, as she is no ordinary woman. She possesses an extraordinary ability. Her body can heal from any injury, no matter how severe. This immortality might seem like a gift, but here it is her curse. Her employers exploit her regenerative powers in the most grotesque ways imaginable. Day after day, Mai becomes the unwilling centerpiece of their every desire, enduring acts of torture and violence that are all shown to the viewer in graphic detail. At first, Miyako was horrified. Watching Mai endure endless pain with no relief is a spectacle that should repel anyone. But the mansion has a way of warping those who live within its walls, and slowly, Miyako's resistance fails. Under pressure from her employers, she is persuaded to take part in the cruelty inflicted on Mai. One of the most infamous sequences involves acts of cannibalism. Her abusers literally take pieces out of her, consuming them as though she were a disposable source of endless food, which I guess she kind of is. But the film doesn't spare you any of the details. Every shot and every scene is extremely hard to get through, and the grotesque imagery is paired with a nonchalance. The characters around her don't treat her with pity or compassion. They see her as nothing more than an object for their entertainment, with the dehumanization of Mai being central to the film's shock factor.
Hey,
When
I
Mai-chan's
can't
daily
see the
life was
name.
released, it was immediately controversial. Even in Japan, a country known for its tolerance of extreme entertainment, as I'm sure you would know if you watched my disturbing video game iceberg, the film was met with outrage and disgust. Outside of Japan, the reaction was even more severe. The film was banned or heavily censored in multiple countries, deemed too graphic and too disturbing for public consumption.
Really?
At first glance, The Birth of a Nation looks like an epic tale of the American Civil War and its aftermath. But if you actually watch the film, it's clear it isn't just telling a story, it's spreading a message, and a dangerous one at that. The film is divided into 2 parts. The first half shows the Civil War and its devastating impact on 2 white families, the Stonemans from the north and the Camerons from the south. It portrays their struggles, their heartbreak, and their losses during the war. This part of the film is dramatic dramatic, emotional, and
Team
carefully
Plasma.
crafted to draw you in, though it's
Universe
easy to
and
forget what's coming
awesome
next.
sauce.
The second half is where the true intentions of the film become clear. It focuses on Reconstruction, the period after the Civil War when the South was being rebuilt. But D.W. Griffith, the director of the film, doesn't show this as a time of progress. Instead, he portrays it as a nightmare. Black characters played by white actors in black face paint are shown as corrupt, violent, and incapable of governing. They're depicted as predators out to destroy white Southern society. One of the most infamous parts of the film is its portrayal of the Ku Klux Klan. Griffith doesn't show the Klan as the violent racist group we know today. Instead, they're painted as noble heroes riding to save the South from the chaos caused by black
That's a new
people.
route.
In one
That's a new
dramatic scene,
route.
the Klan
That's a new
charges to
route.
the rescue
That's
of
a new
white
route. We get to
family
catch the
with
first
dramatic
Pokemon
music swelling in the
after we
background.
fight
This
this
scene is
bitch.
designed to make the audience cheer for them, to see them as saviors, not villains. In another scene, a black character chases a white woman, trying to force her into marriage. She runs in terror and eventually throws herself off a cliff to escape. The Birth of a Nation also portrays Reconstruction-era black politicians as lazy, incompetent, and immoral. In one scene, they're shown drinking alcohol and putting their bare feet up on desks
Wake
during a
up, slap.
government meeting. Griffith claimed he didn't make the film to spread hate. He argued it was just a story, but the way he chose to tell that story reveals the truth. When Birth of a Nation was released in 1915, it was a phenomenon. Audiences flocked to theaters, with some traveling
Finish it.
miles just to see it. It quickly became the highest-grossing film of its time, earning what would be equivalent to hundreds of millions of dollars today. But the film's success wasn't just about ticket sales. It had a ripple effect that would leave a stain on history. The most immediate and chilling fallout was the revival of the Ku Klux Klan. Before the film, the Klan had largely faded into obscurity,
Oh,
but
wow.
Birth of a Nation made them seem heroic, even patriotic. Inspired by the film, William J. Simmons founded a new Klan in 1915, just months after the film's release. Simmons
Oh, God
reportedly
damn it.
used the movie as a recruitment tool, showing it to Klan meetings to inspire new members. And by the 1920s, the KKK had grown
I'm
into
giving
a
myself
powerful
one redo because of the
nationwide
tragedy
organization
losses
with millions
of
of
my
members. They marched openly in
Pokemon.
cities, staged massive
Jesus
rallies, and
Christ.
committed acts of violence and
I
terror,
don't want
all
you, you're
while
ugly.
waving the banner of their so-called heroic legacy, as shown
I
in
know
the
it's
film.
against the rules, but I'm
Even
giving
President
myself one more
Woodrow
just
Wilson
because.
was caught in the controversy.
Oh my God,
After
give me
a private screening
give
at
me
the
a
White
chance.
House,
I won't
he
either. I
allegedly
take it
praised
or
the
I
film,
don't.
calling it like writing history with lightning. Though historians debate whether
Great.
he actually said this, the quote was
Pokemon,
widely
I can
reported
only
at the
evolve
time, giving the film even more
via
legitimacy
trading.
in the eyes of its supporters. Despite its controversial legacy, The Birth of a Nation literally revolutionized filmmaking, setting the standard for cinematic storytelling. At over 3 hours long, it was one of the first films to feature a complex narrative with emotional depth and multiple storylines, proving that films could be more than just mindless entertainment, that it could be actual art.
Oops, I killed it. Guess I
When you
can't
hear
catch
the
it.
name Lucifer Valentine, it's hard not to picture someone who would make a film
Pokemon.
called Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. Valentine calls himself the pioneer of the vomit gore subgenre, a label as strange and grotesque as the films he
Jesus
creates.
Christ, dude, I cannot
Honestly, to
fight
call
right
this
now.
a movie almost feels misleading. Instead, the film is a fragmented series of graphic and surreal images loosely tied together by the main character Angela, who is spiraling into madness. And Valentine doesn't shy away from showing extreme violence, often lingering on scenes of bodily harm far longer than most viewers could
Wake up,
stomach.
Slap.
The film also incorporates an unusual and highly controversial element: real vomiting. Multiple scenes show actors forcing themselves to vomit on camera, sometimes repeatedly. It's not just a fleeting moment either. It's a central theme of the film, appearing over and over again. What makes these
Let me
scenes
heal my
even more
Pokemon.
unwatchable is the way they blur the line between fiction and reality. While the violence is staged, the vomiting is real, creating a very grotesque mix of the truly authentic and the staged. Because you're not just watching actors
Weird.
pretend to suffer, you're seeing
don't
them
like that.
physically endure something unpleasant. The
Frozen.
story of Guinea Pig begins with Hideshi Hino, a Japanese manga artist known for his
No,
grotesque
move.
and shocking illustrations. Hino specialized in creating disturbing and surreal
No,
comics
I don't
that
wanna be
explored the
frozen.
darkest corners
Let me
of
out.
human imagination. But for him,
me
drawing
out.
wasn't enough. He wanted to bring his twisted visions to life on screen. His idea was very simple: make
Haha,
films
you
that looked
burned
so
me,
real,
so
people
I'm
would
out.
forget they were watching fiction. The Guinea Pig series
Punk.
launched with The Devil's Experiment in 1985, a short short film that set the tone for what was to come. There wasn't much of a plot, just a series of increasingly brutal tortures inflicted on a young woman. However, the second installment, Flowers of Flesh and Blood, is what cemented Guinea Pig as one of the most infamous film series of all time. Directed by Hideshi Hino himself, it was reportedly inspired by a letter he had received from a fan. The fan claimed to be a murderer and described in graphic detail how he had dismembered his victims. Hino turned this twisted inspiration into a film that would haunt audiences for years. Flower of Flesh and Blood depicts a samurai abducting a woman, drugging her, and destroying her piece by piece, all shown in excruciating detail. Using prosthetics, animal parts, and gallons of fake blood, the filmmakers created visuals so realistic that even horror fans accustomed to extreme gore were left shaken. It was as if the filmmakers had somehow captured real violence on camera, and that was the point. Hino wanted audiences to feel like they were witnessing something they shouldn't be watching. And if you thought the Guinea Pig films were disturbing enough on their own, what happened in 1991 elevated their notoriety to a whole new level. This was the moment when a Hollywood actor, convinced that Flower of Flesh and Blood was a real snuff film, sparked an FBI investigation that would forever cement the series' legacy in horror history. The story goes like this. Charlie Sheen, known at the time for his roles in huge films like Platoon and Wall Street, attended a party where someone handed him a copy of Flower and Flesh and Blood. Sheen, curious about the tape, sat down to watch it, not knowing what he was about to see. What played before his eyes was one of the most gruesome and realistic depictions of violence ever put to film. The film's graphic content hit Sheen hard. As he watched the samurai systematically destroy the woman, he became convinced that it wasn't staged. To him, it looked like a real snuff film. Unlike most horror movies, this didn't have the hallmarks of fiction. No over-the-top acting, no cheesy effects, no escape for the victim. Sheen couldn't shake the feeling that what he had seen was genuine, so he contacted the FBI, reporting the film as potential evidence of a real murder. This call set off a chain of events that brought Guinea Pig into the spotlight they'd never seen before. The FBI, taking the complaint seriously, launched an investigation into the film, its creators, and whether or not it depicted an actual crime. As the investigation unfolded, the authorities zeroed in on Hideshi Hino, the creator of the film. Hino and his team were forced to demonstrate how they had created the film's disturbingly realistic effects. They showed behind-the-scenes footage and explained the techniques they had used to simulate the dismemberments. The animal parts used in some scenes were revealed, and the prosthetics were displayed as proof that everything was staged. Eventually, the FBI concluded that the film was indeed fake, an unsettling, convincing piece of art, but art nonetheless. However, by this point, the damage had already been done. The investigation had catapulted the Guinea Pig series into the international spotlight, making it infamous far beyond its original niche audience. We're now on level 5 of the iceberg. Snuff 102 is about the horrifying world of snuff films. The movie follows a journalist investigating the underground world of these snuff videos that show real murder and torture. Her search for the truth leads her to a deranged killer who forces her to witness and even become a part of the atrocities she commits. However, the film intertwines her story with footage of 3 nameless victims, showing their brutal treatment and ultimate demise all on film. But this isn't just a story about a journalist uncovering a mystery. It's a film designed to make you feel uncomfortable, confused, and even guilty for watching it, as the director, Mariano Peralta, really blurs the lines between fiction and reality. Unlike most horror films, which make it clear that what you're seeing is fake, Snuff 102 doesn't give you that comfort. It uses a mix of stage violence and real-life footage, including scenes of autopsies and real animal cruelty, to make everything feel disturbingly real. This deliberate choice forces viewers to constantly question if what they're watching is actually real or fake. The film doesn't offer much in the way of traditional storytelling either, as it's basically built off the back of extremely shocking and gory footage. There's no clear resolution, no satisfying character arcs, and no relief from the horror it shows. Even the editing feels unhinged, with jarring cuts and overlapping sounds. The director said in a 2013 interview that the film was never meant to be simple shock value. Instead, it was designed as a harsh critique of society's growing desensitization to violence. Peralta believed that by confronting audiences with deeply uncomfortable imagery, he could provoke critical thought and force viewers to reflect on why they would even ever think to watch a film like Snuff 102. When discussing how exactly he made the film, Peralta
switching out immediately. I didn't know you could fucking do that.
Creating realistic portrayals and maintaining ethical filmmaking practices. He clarified that while the film does incorporate real footage, specifically of animal cruelty he sourced from the internet, every human torture and murder scene was carefully staged using special effects and actors. Probably for the first time in film history, his goal was to craft a deeply disturbing experience that left viewers questioning what was real and, more importantly, why they were even watching the film.
Stop struggling.
It's 1998 in Japan, a time when the country's film industry is thriving with creativity, but also experimenting with extremes. The premise of Tumbling Doll of Flesh seems straightforward. It begins as a low-budget adult movie focusing on a man and a woman participating in what appears to be a consensual adult film shoot. The tone is mundane, with scenes that are slow, quiet, and uneventful. But as the minutes tick by, a subtle unease begins to creep in. Something feels off, not just in the performances, but in the very atmosphere of the film. Then, almost without warning, the story takes a jarring turn. The male actor begins to unleash horrifying violence on the woman. What starts as a consensual act devolves into an extended scene of torment, all while the cameras continue to roll. The violence is disturbingly realistic. It's not stylized or exaggerated. It's slow, methodical, and deeply unsettling. The camera lingers on the woman's suffering.
Waiter, 10 billion. Oh my god, a never-ending battle of fucking
Unlike other extreme films, Tumbling Doll of Flesh doesn't offer any clear context or explanation for the violence. There's no character development, zero backstory, no justification, just pure shock value, leaving you physically sick. The director, Tamakichi Inaru, wasn't interested in creating a typical movie. He wanted to explore what happens when you strip away all safety nets, leaving only raw, unfiltered human emotion and suffering. His vision for Tumbling Doll of Flesh was a film that would feel as real as
the waiter's
possible.
working, bro. The waiter's doing a damn good job.
Question whether or not they were watching fiction or something far darker.
Yeah, we're done after this is our last battle of the night. Oh my god, I'm not doing this anymore. Thank you guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and say thank you guys for watching the stream. It has been a very fun one. 4 hours plus the hour I did earlier, so yet another fucking 5-hour stream.
A young filmmaker with a simple but daring idea. Schwartz wanted to create a film that explored humanity's darkest fear, death.
Are you fucking serious?
To make a film that
Are
like
you
a
fucking serious?
with real
Are
life
you
horrors and unsettling
fucking
footage.
serious?
At the time, there was a growing curiosity about taboo subjects in media. People were
This has
becoming
been a great
increasingly
stream.
fascinated.
But I am so done. I kind of want to hear what the last one is, at least. Protect and survive the attack. What the fuck is this last one? Does not look very scary at all.
To survive, but Protect and Survive didn't stay hidden for long. The series was leaked to the public in the late 1970s, and when people first saw it, their reactions were not what the government had expected. Instead of feeling reassured, many were horrified. The cold, matter-of-fact tone of the films made the instructions feel more like a death sentence rather than a survival guide. For example, one film calmly explained how to make a makeshift fallout shelter using everyday items like doors, blankets, and furniture. The tone wasn't just unsettling, it was terrifying. People couldn't help but wonder, if this is the best advice the government has, what chance do we really have? The reason why I rank Protect and Survive in the very last tier is because just try to envision yourself in the shoes of its intended viewer, sitting at home, enjoying a very normal day, when suddenly this comes on your television, the last film you will likely ever see.
If anyone dies while you are kept in your fallout room, move the body to another room in the house. Label the body with name and address and cover it as tightly as possible in polythene, paper, sheets or blankets. Tie a second card to the covering. If, however, you have had a body in the house from...
Yeah, this has been like watching paint dry. God, that last battle was fucking awesome. Press save again. Thank you guys so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And I can assure you, this is the Peter Show. Signing off. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And have a great night.